It's time for more Kingmaker. We have Aftermath to deal with. I'll say I've been excited for this session for a couple of weeks now. Lots of things have happened. Lots of people are dead. And we are basically starting book 2 of the adventure path. We're not, because it's open world. So we're like book 1.5, I guess. I don't know. We're somewhere in the Stolen Lands. And thank y'all so much for your support on Patreon. I will grab that D5 so y'all can put a voice to a token. And we'll start those in-character reflections for hero points, beginning with number 3. I gotta look at OBS. Who's number 3? Beginning with Kalira.
Oh, I'm starting again. All right. So Kalira is a barbarian of the superstitious bent, and she has had a glorious battle in the name of the Iron Lord. She had sent many a foe to their deaths by the end of her blade. Currently, she feels like now is the time for Kato to sort of this is a very formative time for him, and she feels like she is a bit of a guide for him, because she feels like most of the people in the party are too soft, and no one responds well to a soft leader. So she feels it's her. She's decided to take the mama bear role and to take Kato under her wing and teach him the ways of the world, the more violent world.
From toddler to mama bear, good enough for me. And you are playing a... I forgot to put that
It's a barbarian. Superstitious barbarian.
Big, angry, do a heckin' smash, get that hero point, and then go again. We are not satisfied. Okay, there we go. And number 5 next is the Taxman, old Artoris.
Well then, last time it was just a lot of combat, so right, I'm playing Artoris. I'm a tactical leader, inquisitor, doing spell things, and so a lot of combat. I guess where my mind would be at right now, I'm tending the wounded. Very concerned about the infection that is spreading through my comrades. And thinking about Keston, right? That was his name.
Yep, Keston.
Thinking about him. That one's gonna sting for quite a while. I remember he was a pretty welcome sight for sore eyes when he arrived originally, and he gave me a brief moment of order when they moved the prisoner back to be tried, and so I felt like he was I don't know, I had a kinship. So that hurts. That's where my mind's at right now.
Good enough for me. Yeah, I'm sad that Keston died too. Keston plays a big role in the CRPG Kingmaker. Not this time. This time he gets shot in the face and died. But take that hero point, then go again. Then okay, look at that. We did someone else. I think I know who 2 is. No, okay, I thought Kato was 2. Now next is Senya.
I am Senya, Kelid Barbarian, Geminid Invoker, and a level 1 Ranger. Based on the session, it definitely was a big battle. I've tangoed with Batman and received an unfortunate bite, so I am very concerned about what things may come unless we get that taken care of before the next full moon. Also, based on our last RP session, I am starting to delve more into my own skill set. Starting to think back about what my shaman has taught me when I was younger, and considering to maybe putting those skills now to use.
There has been... I almost feel like I should record those at some point, because there's an RP channel on our Discord, and you can join our Discord and read it. Ah, there you go. I won't record it. I will promote it. Haha. But there's definitely a lot of stuff that happens off the camera in this group that I enjoy watching, and the hero point is yours. Now the question becomes, do we get a long list of classes, or the person who writes out their reflections Only the D2 will decide. The D2 says Kato.
Yeah, the one. And Kato, the one and only.
Why?
Right, so I'm playing the character Kato Sicarius. He is a swashbuckling noble. This is actually the first level, now level 4. This is the first level where I'm actually putting a level into an existing class instead of picking up a brand new one. So Kato is a level 2 swashbuckler now of the Rosslyn Bravo archetype. He's also a level 1 monk with the Master of Many Styles archetype and a level 1 fighter with the Weapon Master archetype, weapon proficiency being the Eldori Dueling Sword. So Kato had a bit of a day during the last session. On one hand, he had glorious combat where he managed to dispatch the vile tyrant, the Stag Lord. On the other hand, he almost died twice. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for Kato during the past session. Currently, Kato is in pretty bad shape. To give a bit of a recap of the text RP we did, there was a bit of a speech, a bit of a rousing discussion, and then he started to succumb to his wounds, where Ionia has rushed to his aid. So he is kind of in a semi-unconscious state right now, as he's very, very badly wounded. So that's sort of where he's sitting right now. However, should he recover and make a full recovery and get back on his feet, there will be tales sung of his glorious battle in the future, he hopes. So let's see where this goes.
Good enough. And now we'll all sit back, relax, and hear the written out bit from our occultist who shows up every time. Also, you gave her congrats, Kato.
So I am playing Ionia Essel, a mostly human occultist. So my reflection is going to take place basically right where Kato left off, with him kind of falling unconscious in my arms. Ionia sits on her knees, extending an arm behind Kato's back to help support his weight. Her leg still throbbed with pain, but that would have to wait. She examines his injuries, taking note of the areas with the most severe damage. You had a long day and you're still injured. Try not to overexert yourself. It'll make your recovery slower. She runs her hand gently over his chest, feeling the broken rib, and quickly withdraws as Kato winces at her touch. Minoru. The dog pops his head up from where she had left him laying on the platform. Fetch my bag and one of the healing kits. She scans the platform. Nearly everyone had been injured in the confrontation with the Stag Lord, and many of them looked worse for wear. Standing above her, she noticed Cal poking at a wound on her hairline. It's miraculous how little it seems to bother her, Ionia thinks to herself. At the very least, she probably has a pretty severe concussion. It would certainly explain the gibberish she was shouting at Artoris before she fell. I should probably see her next, if she'll let me get close enough to examine her. Her gaze shifts to Xenia. The puncture on her neck is clear, even at this distance. That bite will be difficult. Not much I can do about it presently. I can only hope that we are able to find the herbs that we need in time. I've grown quite fond of Xenia, and we'd suffer a great loss should this curse take its full effect. Besides, I'll need her help in making the Tiger Lords pay for what they did to Brother. Ionia turns her head, setting her sights on Artoris. Good, he's already seeing to the wounded troops. She raises her eyebrow inquisitively as she watches him splint a man's arm. She looks down at her own clothes and hands, smeared in dirt and blood. I wonder how he manages to keep himself so clean, even in the midst of a great battle. Minoru arrives, dropping the requested items beside her. She gives the dog a dutiful pat on the head and digs through the bag, retrieving a familiar bundle. She lights the incense and sets the statue of Zonoth beside Kato. Help me, ancestor. Help me to restore this brave warrior so that he may fight another day and lead his men with the strength and wisdom of a true leader. She prays silently as she begins treating Kato's wounds.
And the hero point is yours. Okay, so real quick before we start, this is the third time I've said real quick before we start, I have a thing. But it dawns on me, I should probably check. There are some new players here. We are level 4 now. Did everybody get a +1 increase to one ability score they're choosing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to be sure before we come back at like level 12 and all of the numbers are real small. To say nothing of how beefy Minoru is looking now. But we can, I feel like I ask this of you guys every time, but I'm going to anyway. We can basically pick this one up from wherever y'all want in terms of the rest. We can, if there's anything you want to do now, anyone you want to talk to, tend to, before sleeping it off in a place where an enraged owlbear cannot reach you. We certainly can. Or we can pick up after the rest.
I'm good with after.
I'm good with after. Otherwise, I'm just unconscious anyway.
Yeah, fair. Okay, sure. So,
When you put it like that.
you know,
I mean, if you guys want to, though, maybe there's. I know Senya wanted to possibly flex her new ability. That would be a good time. Maybe this would be a good time to do it.
I don't know, guys. I'm kind of. What if the owlbear decides to poke its head?
What, up the...
Up the staircase?
yeah, the owlbear could probably get up like the stair here to here. Maybe that wouldn't give, but this is an entirely different story.
Okay.
Ox is a big boy, and owlbear is much bigger.
Is it like the size of a full bear?
Yeah, it's probably about... I'll get you exact stats. Here we'll go to the SRD. Owlbear, don't care. Bought that shirt for an ex of mine, and I want to buy it again for myself because it was dope. Owlbears are probably about standing on their hind legs, probably about 8 feet tall and upwards of like 1,500 pounds.
1,500. Okay.
How's that for you?
Feel pretty safe. In fact, I would like it to try to cross the bridge. It would make our job easier.
Well, feel free to sleep on the bridge and act as
Well,
state.
Shoot, I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm still
No, totally
sleepy.
fine. Story of my life.
Okay. Well, Ionia has been very, very convincing, or like, I don't want to say nagging, but like very peer pressury about it. So, and I'm definitely interested in trying it out and see what happens.
Okay.
We're going to have a seance.
Gonna have a seance. We're no longer playing Kingmaker. We are now playing the Blair Witch Project.
Man, that ended well.
There's actually a new game come out that I was watching Markiplier play, and it's called Blair Witch, and it looks super dope. But that's a different story.
I worry about the dog too much the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Ruins it for me.
Bullet is in danger. I must protect Bullet. Or Taurus knows.
I got your back, buddy.
We have thank you. So we have a seance, I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how it's gonna work, so
It's going to need Tommy's help.
we're gonna give it a go.
And I will go to the Gemini Invoker on the SRD, and we will see what even is happening.
So it's the... she has the same skill as the medium. Median.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Except the
So we are talking about
Haunt Channeler.
at 3rd level, a Gemini Invoker gains the power to sense and absorb lingering spiritual energy. This functions identically to the medium class ability, which they just conveniently enough don't put right here. Of the same name, except the Gemini Invoker deals 1d6 points of damage to haunts for every 3 barbarian levels. That's not the worst thing ever. Okay, let's see here. Haunt Channeler. Haunt Channeler says you can always act in the surprise round against a haunt, and your touch funnels a portion of the haunt into yourself, dealing 1d6 points of damage to the haunt per 2 medium levels, as if via positive energy, and allowing the medium to ask the haunt a single question. The haunt can answer the question however it chooses. Additionally, the medium can forego the saving throw against the haunt's effect to funnel the haunt entirely into themselves. If they do so, the medium suffers the haunt's full effect, but the haunt doesn't affect anyone else. There are some dungeons in Carrion Crown where that would have been very good. Okay, so there's not a haunt here. A haunt mechanically is a trap that involves ghosts. But What
Our-
exactly are we trying to do with it?
Well, we were kind of wondering, the Stag Lord, last when he was fighting, he kind of made mention of being promised these lands to him, and has mentioned, like, he seems to have known the tribe that I come from. Well, he kind of made mention of it. And we kind of want to know more about who promised him these lands, if there's possibly like lingering ghosts around here that may have overheard something that possibly can tell us that information.
Okay.
There was
So-
that whole rumor about this place essentially being like kind of built on a graveyard, or at least like there were the rumors of there being like restless dead in this vicinity, so we were thinking maybe there was a way to
Are the walls bleeding?
to call forth like a restless spirit or something.
Okay. No, the walls are not bleeding. Senia begins to concentrate and meditate, and you get... I'm gonna roll percentage dice for it. Well, already. It's very clear, though the Stag Lord is going to move on. The Stag Lord was a troubled individual, but not so troubled as to like, oops, now I'm a revenant. It feels to you in about 10 seconds worth of concentration before you lose it that he was somebody's pawn. Somebody was moving the Stag Lord around for their own gains, their own machinations, if you will. The Stag Lord himself probably didn't have a whole lot of clue about it at all. It seemed more that something with the authority, or at least power to do so, had promises that they maybe could keep, maybe could not keep, maybe had no intention of keeping. That said, there's certainly a little more going on here.
So there's definitely no definitive ghosts around here that can divulge more information, just kind of like a feeling that
Yeah, there are no lingering spirits more powerful than just like the feeling of being played, I suppose.
No spooks.
So I open up my eyes after like having concentrated on the energies around here, and I kind of look over at Ionia and shake my head in a negative way, like, sorry, but this place doesn't have any spirits that we can talk to, but I did get a sense that the Stag Lord was not acting on his own. He was somebody's pawn.
Ionia will just kind of put her hand on Senya's shoulder, kind of trying to like comfort her in the moment, I guess, and just say, we'll find our answers. Just might take some time.
Okay. So then on that note, I believe the night passes. The owlbear... Oh, the owlbear. What do you do, owlbear? You're very mean. I will... Here we go. I'm going to roll percentage dice again. And indeed, you guys set up a watch between the Soot Scales and the mercenaries and y'all. Sometime in the middle of the night, after most of the poor bandits that had fallen are no more, the owlbear does make its way off into the countryside.
See you, buddy.
And morning dawns.
Aw.
Really, you were spoiling for a fight with the owlbear? Half dead as you are?
After 6 hours of combat last session,
More,
it would have
more
been.
combat.
I feel like it would have been a quick and easy dispatching that we could have done and put ourselves in, the right mindset. But it's fine. It's gone.
Right
It's
mindset? What does that mean?
Murder.
more food, more pelts. Leave
That's
some-
not what I got from that. That's not
Yeah.
mindset. No.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, everyone's ready to do more killing today, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do, team?
All
I'll
right.
say
We have a disease to cure.
we have a disease to cure. You guys, like I said, you probably have. I think I said it last time. You have about a couple weeks before the full moon. Senia, all of the mercs and Chief Sootscale, as you awaken, your bite marks are noticeably infected. They burn as well, like red streaks running from where you were bitten, basically all down your body.
So Kato rouses from his sleep, still aching from head to toe, but feeling significantly better than he was prior to falling out of consciousness the night before. Oh, I haven't felt this bad since my 16th birthday, the morning after. Is everyone else okay? What happened? Everything is kind of a blur.
well, geez, I'm glad you appreciate my healing.
Kato looks up at Ionia.
She's kind
That
of
was-
smiling at him playfully.
My every thanks, my lady.
Well, let's not get carried away.
He snickers back and tries to pull himself to his feet very slowly and crickety.
She'll help you up and kind of like show you where the damage is and like how to minimize it as you're standing up.
Kato's face suddenly drops for a moment as he looks around. Keston, he fell, didn't he?
Somber silence befalls the room.
Yeah, both figuratively and actually. Look down there. And Cal's on the bridge looking down. Owlbear's gone too, though. I don't know how much of Crescent it ate. He looks more or less. Does Crescent look more or less in one piece?
The percentage dice will decide your fate. Nope.
Yeah, no. He ate. Crescent's mostly eaten.
Wait, he
You know.
didn't fall over. He died on the platform.
He was
He died.
Z2A.
right
died on-
here, I believe, when he got
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah,
That's where the
he fell
ogre
off.
was.
Ogre
Yeah,
was-
and he fell off.
Mhm.
Well, the ogre fell off, yeah.
And so did Crescent.
I'm pretty sure he was there. The ogre was here.
I thought he
Bell was there.
got clubbed by the ogre and went flying off the bridge.
No, that was one of the We'll say he's
Uh,
there. I don't
I mean,
super
either
remember.
way,
I'll go back and
it's,
check the tapes at some point. His
Check the
body's
VOD,
there.
yeah.
All right, well, if he's not down there and didn't get eaten, then that's a benefit. So we can give him his proper respects,
We should probably
but not
Bury-
here.
Well, we should probably bury the dead and see if there's anything in this fort that is of interest.
I agree.
I would naturally be more inclined to handle the burials than pillage.
Well, I mean, there's so many of us, and only so much that can go towards digging ditches.
You know, you're lucky you're not in one of those ditches.
So,
Maybe a little more respect.
so what I gather is you're not in the ditch digging crew. From what I gather, isn't that the right fob?
Kato approaches Chief Sootscale and asks him, "What are your Drawing a blank here. What are your customs when it comes to honor handling your fallen?
The chief
Eat 'em.
looks out over the remains of the ground floor, and both of the kobolds' bodies are pretty gone. One kobold was shot here, one kobold. Well, the one that I think there was one up here, and he survives. He looks out and we will bury them. Such as what remains. He kind of looks down at his feet. He lost a third of his tribe today. It's pretty obvious that he's just kind of holding it together. He also has very visible lines of infection running down his body.
As do most of the surviving kobolds, do they not?
No, all the
No,
kobolds
the
by him are fine.
mercenaries.
Oh, it's just the mercenaries.
Yeah. Mhm.
They were slinging rocks, man.
Cato puts a hand on Sootscale's shoulder and says, "You and your men fought bravely today. They will be honored and remembered. And as much as we lost here today, we have gained much more. So be proud of what we did."
He nods and puts his hand on yours. Goes back to basically just staring out over the scene. He's got a lot to process right now.
I'm going to next walk over to Keston's remains.
Okay.
Cato will kneel down next to the fallen man. A disgraced noble in life, but a hero in death. None could have redeemed themselves as well as you did, old friend. You will not be forgotten. He then he then closes, he runs his hand over Keston's face, closing his eyes, and takes a deep breath as he sits there, contemplating. How's that for respect, Esker?
I mean, old friend might have been a little much, but
Nah, dude, we knew. Well, we weren't old friends, but we were from the same town, both from noble houses.
Friends with old people from my old town.
I'm sure. I'm sure my social circle involved, him, and like we would have either seen each other in passing or had some, light interactions, even in our younger years. So
well, as much as I would love, and I would, to continue paying proper respects, we do have a bit of an emergency on our hands, in that one of our party members and the chief and all of Keston's men are fighting off an infection that could claim their sanity and put us all in danger. So,
Not pleasing this guy.
Though an army of werebats would be quite useful.
No. That's not what we're doing.
might I
know.
suggest we turn our attention as soon as it's practical to curing this ailment?
Well, we have one survivalist in the group that knows these lands and the flora and fauna that are in the area. We have two
We have that book.
healers. Sorry?
We have that book from the Masterwork Survival Kit that has like flora and fauna for the area. It gives us a bonus on stuff.
Yeah, so between that and Senya's survival skills of the area, which are quite high now, I believe, and then the two of you being, administrators of healing, I think we should. I think we have a good chance at.
Is there a chance
setting.
in our travels that we would have remembered seeing this? Was it Wolfsbane?
No.
Belladonna or Wolfsbane, I
No.
think.
And both of them are pretty uncommon in such a way that like you would have noticed them.
Okay.
That said, Belladonna is also a poison, so Bakken could
Yeah.
very well have some.
I was about to say we may as well check with Bach.
I was also thinking that if nothing else, even if he doesn't have it, he might be able to give us more information as to like what areas it might grow in or something like that.
How much
Yeah, I'd
time do we
almost-
have?
Couple weeks.
15 days. I rolled it.
Let's go
last
see my
time.
favorite goblin.
Your
All right,
favorite goblin.
So, in order for to make this as quickly as possible, probably send Ionia and Senya on horseback.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. Not saying we do that. Group, what does the group think?
How fast do horses travel again?
Move speed of 50.
Oof.
And we
Minoru
take-
will have to stay behind.
Yeah, I'm thinking we want to keep that party as like just small and fast.
Why are we sending Ionia?
She's the friend. She's the one that because we want to send one person who has like medical expertise,
And also
And-
because I like Bakken.
and Senya as protection, because in case they run into something gnarly on the
She's
way.
also one of the ones that's like. Would we know in character like this 50 like?
How long will it
Yeah.
take us by horseback to travel from the fort to Bakken?
I'm doing the math right now. Assuming the horses are given time to rest and you're not just like riding them to death. Looks like 5, 10, 15, 23, about 24 hours travel all told. So round trip would be a few days.
And Senia got it with the knowledge check that we know we have until the next full moon before it hits the fan, as it were.
All right.
That is true.
So why don't Ionia and I travel back to Bakken and you guys stay here?
Well,
Take
since
care of the.
Esker made a point, you're depending on how painful this affliction is or this infection, maybe we should send Cal instead.
I'm significantly less comfortable traveling alone with Cal.
I know, but should we really be like how painful is this injury?
Like a pretty bad infection.
Yeah, so
As
like
there were some real big nature checks rolled. As the days go by, all 5 of the infected will probably feel strange animal instincts, perhaps like nothing mechanical mind, but like hearing might sharpen at some points, especially during the night, sometimes to the point of like brain dividing by 0 because your ears are suddenly 10 times sharper than they used to be and everything's coming really loud. When you stop for meals, cravings for meat that's a little more on the rare side, shall we say.
I'm just thinking from an in-character perspective. We would probably take like those who were bitten and infected and have them like resting and not
Exerting themselves.
exerting themselves overly much, whereas those who are the most fit to travel would make, like, obviously I want Ionia to go simply because you like this guy, and also your medical background means that if he has the ingredients, you guys might be able to whip something up there.
Yeah.
And you need a escort though, and I would go, but I'm in character would not want to make that trip, and I don't think any of the infected should make the trip either, just in case.
Well, if I'm going with Cal, I would like to bring Minoru with us, which will slow us down a little bit because he travels at 40 feet. But I'm not entirely convinced that Cal won't try to kill me in my sleep.
Really? I mean, she's shady, but I don't think she's the murder party member in the sleep shady.
She's always going off about how much she hates spellcasters and accusing me of being a witch. I don't trust her.
That's true. She does call you witch all the time.
Okay, so traveling with Minoru, it'll take all told a little over 3 days down and back, assuming again that you're not just dead sprinting through the hills and you're stopping to rest and stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I mean, I could always go with
Or
it, but
yeah, Artorias could also always go.
which makes a certain amount of sense in character. I don't know. Like, I guess if we're imagining combat happens, we would be at a little bit of a disadvantage.
A little bit.
Run.
Can you haste horses?
Why, yes,
You
you
could-
can.
You can get there a lot faster.
One of them.
And only for like a minute. out
One
of the
horse
day.
goes way in front of the other ones. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that
I-
makes more sense.
I think the most sense makes to send Arturus and Ionia back to Bakken, while we here will take care of the dead and the infected.
Well, I
And
think
the- and-
one of either me or Artoris needs to stay here to administer treatment to those who remain.
That too. We have 2 healers, and we shouldn't send both away. We have wounded still.
Well,
It's
then
really,
it's-
this really doesn't need to be like this big of a discussion, right?
No. All
I
right.
think 95% of the time they just arrive there, have a discussion with Bakken, and then
Right.
come back. Yeah. So let's just wrap this up. I guess I mean,
I don't mind.
And you said, and Esker, you said you wanted to oversee like the funeral rites and all that
I
stuff.
mean, yeah, I have things I could do here.
Well, and
And
not
sure.
to mention that that Artoris is more skilled in actually using the med kit and doing like long-term treatment. I don't really know how to do that. I just kind of pray to my ancestors and like, do you feel better? So in that sense, it might make sense for Artoris to stay behind.
In that sense,
Also, I
it
want to
makes
see
sense.
Bakken.
Why don't we just go with the original plan of taking Senya and
I'm sure I'll
make
be fine.
all of this discussion absolutely pointless?
Like, I'm sure I'll be okay. I have a healer with me, so if anything,
I'm gonna tell Ionia to be careful with her and watch her behavior closely. And if she starts to turn, leave her behind. Don't hesitate.
With the knowledge we rolled before, we know that it's going to be a while before
Yeah.
she turns.
Yeah,
right?
you guys have a
So,
couple
like,
weeks.
I mean,
You
That's
further know
all
that if
well
she
and
turns,
good.
she'll be able to fly faster than a horse can run. So leaving her behind maybe.
that's why, like, if she starts, you leave. As soon as she exhibits any kind of behavior that is like, she could become a werebat.
Yes, Dad.
Leave her behind.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
So 2 women on horseback right across the northern edge of the Stolen Lands, heading to Bakken's hut. We shall resolve that one first. The great time skip of November the 10th is now upon us. A few days pass. You guys you don't come upon anything super random encountery, and you do arrive at Bakken's hut. As you get there, he is outside. Looks like he's packing up. And that would make sense because you guys do have to stop and make camp at one point on the trip back, and the nights are starting to get a little cold. Not in such a way that anyone is going to freeze, but it is break out the winter blankets kind of thing. Bakken hears the sounds of horses horsing his directions. Huh? Well, if it isn't my favorite black stag and the witch, what can I do for you?
Why does everybody think I'm... Never mind that. Bakken, we're looking for Wolfsbane or Belladonna. Do you happen to have any?
Why? What happened?
I ride up to him and like take my armor, like kind of shift it over so that he can see the bite on my neck. We had a bit of a run-in with a werebat.
That you did. Oh my! And he puts his hand on his mouth, and his eyes get really big. One moment, and he runs back into his hut and comes out with a sprig of some kind of plant, and he basically just passes it over to Senya. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, right? Eat this.
Do I?
He rolls a natural 1 on his alchemy check, and then you die. Well, now she's not aware of that. Now she's just a zombie. Oh, that's much easier to deal with.
All we need is a paladin.
We need like Chief Suitscale also, and three mercenaries that we brought with us are also. So we need enough for 5.
His eyes
Please?
get real big, and he. All right, hold on. Let me see what I can do. This is obviously going to take much more than. Oh, by the gods! And he runs back in. You can hear the sounds of beakers hitting the table, and like he says something in arcane languages, and something like sparks up, and a fire gets going.
Does he have like one of those like masks over his face?
He does not.
Okay.
My hands were over my face.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. That's why I was asking that.
He is immediately suspicious of the bird flu and puts on a mask. You guys, the pair of you have kind of just left outside as he's working.
Just kind of stare blinking at Senya, like, this guy is so weird. I love him.
Kind of shift nervously in my saddle.
I ship it.
Baconia.
He comes out.
Fuck.
I guess Ionia Yen that doesn't work at all. That's horrible.
Yeah, Kyle's was better.
It was indeed. Bakken, after about an hour, comes out carrying just 1 vial, and he passes the vial to Senya, and he's, well, so I have good news and I have bad news, and I have miscellaneous news. Which would you like first?
It's Friday.
Absolutely.
The bad news?
The bad news is, unless you can get back in as soon as possible, shall we say, this won't be quite good enough. There's a very small window after the bite, which this can work. It should be fine for you, but for everyone else, and he pulls out 4 other vials, time is a factor. Coincidentally, that is also the bad news. Time is indeed a factor. I'm not sure exactly how things will progress, and unfortunately, my strengths in the alchemical arts, they exist, but let's just say some of my earlier studies were in other fields. It may be too late for some of them. Again, unless you
Exploding
hurry.
fields.
He's more into blowing.
Yeah.
stuff up.
It's not really on the cure side of things. More like
I'm a bomber, not a chirurgeon.
And the good news?
The good news is you should be fine if you drink this. And he passes you one of the potions.
What's the miscellaneous news?
The miscellaneous news is it's getting cold, as you can see, and he's most of his plants that were planted in his garden have been harvested. These things won't grow in the winter. I'll be heading to Oleg's basically as soon as you leave. Start setting up shop there. Also, he kind of like looks at he gets a little nervous as he goes to bring this up. I have a couple letters for Cato.
How may I ask, did you get those?
It's a long story. There's just suffice to say, I need to speak with Cato as soon as possible.
Okay, so you're going to Oleg's. You stay with Oleg during the winter?
He nods.
We always eventually make our way back to Oleg's if your business with Cato is really that urgent. We can bring you back with us to him, and you can just travel with us back to Oleg's. So of course, your choice.
Works for me. In any case, it'll let me see some of those bites up close.
I kind of. Are you ready to travel now?
I can be. He starts moving boxes and bags and things into his house. assuming bandits don't come attack my hut, I think these should be fine for a few days.
I'll help him as quickly as I can move the boxes or whatever ordnance he has, and urge him if it's really this time sensitive, we should really get going as soon as possible.
Okay. With the help of someone carrying boxes meant for someone half the size of her, it goes considerably faster. How did it go, by the way, with the Stag Lord? Is he...
I tap at the helmet on my head.
That must be why they called him the Stag Lord, because he literally was wearing a stag, wolf thing. Fair enough. Hopefully that means these lands can know some peace.
I'm sure that now with him gone, your hut will be much safer than it was before.
That's good news.
So, I'm gonna take one of the potions, pop the cork off it, and chug.
Okay. It tastes horrible. It's how to flavor. Imagine, if you will, coffee that had been sitting out for a couple of weeks at room temperature that somebody had put, like all of the spices in the spice rack had been knocked over and somehow serendipitously all fell in the coffee, and then someone tried to heat it back up again. It's disgusting. And about 30 seconds after you get it down where you were bitten, and that whole region of your body just flares up with intense burning, searing pain for about 30 seconds. Then you feel better.
I kind of gag, like, ugh, that stuff's wild. And, like, kind of shake, like, my head, like, you know, when you bite into a very sour lemon. I kind of have, like, that reaction. But then, like, yeah, I feel better.
And you definitely, like, you look down on the bite, and it is no longer infected. Obviously there's still a scar where something bit you, but you are pretty sure you no longer have lycanthropy.
So then the rest of them, I'll carefully stow them into my satchel, and we're ready to go, Bakken, if you are.
He climbs up into the saddle, and y'all take off. While that's happening, let's slide back over to the Stag Lord's fort. The remaining three of you, what do you do?
All right. So over those past days that they were traveling, we have a lot to get done. So
I'll start chopping up bodies.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I've been
Let's
very
do it, Asker would say.
Yeah, we're not chopping them
Yeah.
up. What the?
Chopping up bodies. Here we go.
Speaking of
Easier to
chopping
bury
up
that way.
bodies, as soon as you get like off the road coming out of the Stag Lord's fort, there are definitely some zombies that rise from the ground and come to talk to you.
Oh.
But there are 6 of them, and they are CR1 half, and there's a barbarian here. So chopping up bodies is probably what happens.
holy shit, we just got beset upon by zombies?
Yeah. Had you gone at the fort any other way, it would have been a little harder. Yeah. Other than
Oh.
You guys laughed
Just walking
at my
into the front
medallion
door. Oh, and they're assaulting the fort now?
they would come out and try to like come after you guys, and unless every marshal in the party were to just roll really bad constantly, it would take you guys a couple of seconds to
Oh,
clean
you
them up.
mean
They're not
like
very strong.
3 kobolds with slings?
The kobolds with slings don't have to roll much higher than like a 2.
Oh, okay. Even they can hit it. That's easy. Because all they were doing before was messing.
They were.
All right.
Hey, it's hard, man.
It is. So yeah, no. In real life, though, I would probably have. I probably would have taken the Stag Lord's bodies after stripping them of any valuables. I would probably pile them up to be burned.
We're not burning the Stag Lord.
Yeah, we
No,
got.
I mean, not his crew.
Oh, it's true.
Okay.
I was just going to say,
I mean, unless Asker says something. I mean, that's That's how we do it around stuff, baby.
I mean, I'm more concerned with
Like
Keston and the two
Yeah.
kobolds.
Okay.
Yeah,
So all of the
Pile of
valuables
bodies.
are gathered up, bodies are buried or burnt. As all of the valuables are put in a centralized location, the
Yeah, I was going to
mercenaries
say,
don't really have a leader. They were kind of just following the money when they
Oh,
were following Keston, and
Of
the
course.
soot scales are the soot scales. They turn.
I was-
Good.
I was going to say that while Arcturus and I guess Cal are looting corpses / burying corpses, I was going to attempt to enlist the mercenaries to scout out the rest of the fort with me.
Okay. Works
Any-
for me. We
Any
can-
other rooms that may have unattended items of interest or things of that nature.
We can do that real quick and dirty, or we can do it slow and by the book. Your call.
I'm okay with quick and dirty.
Okay, cool. So there are, as you go looking around, like down where the owlbear was, his poor sad little pen, there is back, I'll move you down to the bottom. Whoopoo! Over here, there is a storage room. As well as over here, this bed seems to be just like a simple barracks. There are a couple of chests. The chests are not locked. And I will put them in the total loot pile, shall we say.
Okay.
There is also, as you go over here to look around, underneath the rubble there is it's mostly buried, but there's a stairwell that leads down.
Is it heavily covered or is it clearable, like by hand?
You guys could do it. It'd take a minute, but
All right, so I'll gesture to the two mercenaries. Help me with this.
and so they do. It takes you guys
Covered in
probably about
flat
like
sweat.
5 minutes all told to clear stuff out, and then stairs leading down.
Let's check it out.
Alrighty. Let's check it out. As you head down there,
Secret treasure. Here we come.
the secretest.
1 million gold.
All the gold. The room down there, it feels really, really damp and greasy. Swaths of mold cover everything. The ceiling is covered in cobwebs. There are mounds of like crates full of fur, weapons, other like very obviously ill-gotten gains. In addition, there is make a perception check, I guess.
Oof. I always love it when you say that.
So you see, I guess rather you don't see, but you hear. And I'll move you over to the proper board here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what? Sorry?
Actually, you
Proper
know what?
board.
You're about
As
to
I
die
go to double check my
again.
Oh, god damn it.
And there's
have
a
I have a riddle for
baby.
you
It's a
guys.
baby owl bear.
what's got 2 thumbs
Baby
now
owl.
remembers that his Roll20 sub ran out sometime last week.
Still the size
This
of a
guy,
nest.
that's why the dynamic lighting's off. Okay, fair enough. I understand that now. And I will pay for that soon. But as you head down over here, and now I see why Ionia knew there was a guy in the basement. Because I didn't get a notification that my subscription had ran out. Pip hill. You hear the sound of like the stone wall kind of warping a little as you make your way down the stairs. However, you don't see anybody, you don't see anything, again, except for a lot of ill-gotten gains that have been stored here.
Okay. Well, cha-ching. I'll just start. So we'll probably start making efforts to gather this up and bring it up. But I'm going to take a kind of a walkthrough to see if anything particularly interesting of note stands out amongst the ill-gotten gains.
I bet there is. Let's see. We got. In total, there's. You were close when you said 1 million gold, to be honest. Probably somewhere on the order of like 7,500 gold worth of trade goods. Think tobacco, furs, pelts, misc weapons and armor of all shapes and sizes. Nothing really like jumps out at you. Nothing is
Okay.
more or less fancy than anything else, but it's pretty obvious they'd been storing stuff here for months.
Gotcha. So no crown jewel, so to speak, that really pops out.
No.
It's just a bunch of really cool stuff. All right.
A lot of money worth of trade goods.
Yeah. So I'll speak to the mercenaries and say, see, I told you we'd all get our just reward, as he smirks. Let's start packing it up and bringing it upstairs.
Okay. Probably takes you guys, because there's a lot of it, probably an hour's worth of just hauling boxes up and around and down, and then go again and up and around and down and loop forever.
Right. Well, I figured something we can do while we're waiting for the away party to get back.
For sure. All of the
Start
soot scales notice this, and they make their way down and start helping too. After you get it all built up and stuff, the mercenaries all kind of look at each other at the assembled quite a bit of wealth. They look towards Cato and just, well, we lost our leader. We have no real business out here. I suppose we'll be heading back to Restov. That said, they look at the gear. There's a pregnant pause as the three of them look at each other. The soot scales get wind of this as well. They start kind of looking around. The chief steps forward and... I lost members of my tribe today. We must rebuild. The mercenaries nod and... Yes, we deserve fair compensation. As this conversation, which is loud enough for everyone in the fort to hear, goes on.
I feel like Arturus and Cal would be walking in right now. She'd be like, "You know, werebats, they smell good when you burn them." And then she'll see all this gold and the mercenaries, and he goes, "Oh, well, you've been busy while we've been working."
And Arturus walks in, hears the mercenaries and the kobolds bring up getting their fair share, and can, like, almost falls on his face as he can feel the scales underneath him shifting.
Arturus has scales.
I almost fell on my face.
Oh, those kinds of scales.
Yeah, man.
As Arturus is a lizard folk.
Arturus is a were-lizard.
He's actually a lizard man under that golden mask.
Is playing a reptoid.
What are they called? The lizard folk?
Argonians.
Shut up. Swish, swish.
Cato clears his throat and says, okay, everybody. Gather around.
Let me tell you a story.
So also,
As I'd mentioned...
I will. You have Acheros's. You have access to Acheros. You have access to... You looted Dovin already. I put the Stag Lord in chat. I'm going to... Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start showing to players all of the character sheets, and that's where the loot is. They are marked by... Like, that Barbarian was just one that you fought. But there were two of these guys, as you can see from the two in parentheticals there. There's a lot of trash loot to be had. There's also, I'll get the GP cost of all of the trade stuff that is picked up. And I'll put that in chat as well. There's a lot.
Cal, Cal will hear these guys talking about having lost a leader, and she'll step in and say, "What do you mean you lost a leader? You have one standing right before you. Besides, you're sick. Where are you going to go? You need to stay here. Stay here with us. We'll pay you."
Their
What's your
eyes
worth?
light up at that.
Help is on the way, hopefully. We don't know. Hopefully our away parties had some luck in these infections, as he gestures towards their various bite marks, can be healed without in not too long. But my less elegant friend here is correct. You've all fought well and fought bravely for us, and you've all lost a lot here today. And House Sicarius doesn't forget its friends and always pays its debts. You will all be amply rewarded for what you've done here today. However, there is still much to be done. We are in the makings of a great nation here, and there will be much glory and much wealth to come in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. You have all proven yourself capable, valuable, and honorable people. And it would be my honor if you would stay with us and join us in our endeavors here. We will, of course, make it worth your while.
And give me a diplomacy check. Natural 1. He sneezes so loud.
Oh my
God.
god. Is that worth burning a hero point on? I think it might be.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it might
burn.
be, yeah.
I'm gonna use my hero
Should
point
have let me
on that.
intimidate him. He's fucked up.
Okay, well, it's not as abysmal.
much
Can't roll
better.
over a 10 though.
It's good enough. They all nod. The soot scales nod as well. And
Burning my hero point on a diplomacy check in the first hour of the session.
sometimes that's how it is. Just sitting here copying more super fun. You do, I guess, of note, one of the only real noticeable things that stands out to you, except for like a bunch of weapons, a bunch of arrows, things like that, in what was clearly the Stag Lord's personal chambers, there was a belt buckle made out of pewter that depicts a pair of succubi entwined with one another. As far as royal jewels go, that's about as close as you get.
I knew Cal, as soon as you just described that, I was expecting Cal to say like, ooh, nice. Could go well with these necklaces, with my Mr. T necklace. Are you actually doing a Mr. T necklace with the stag?
Fuck.
Or was that a joke?
I mean, no, that's 100% canon. She's got
Okay.
what? 8? That's right. 8 medallions.
8 medallions just dangling
8
from her
would
neck.
then go to 9, 10, 11. Oh my gosh. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Go to 18 in total.
18. And 20 because we came in with 2. So 20 medallions.
Right, because we had Kestel's from Merle and the other one.
I think I have 18 strength.
And there goes your stealth checks as you make lots of loud noises.
Right.
So I feel like 18, they're made of like, I'm sure they have some.
They're
some
worth 20
some
gold
value.
piece. They're
Yeah.
worth 20
Piece.
gold piece. I mean, she's not keeping them like
400
that's
gold.
like her outfit going forward.
I mean, if you want to pay the 400 gold into the, or well, half price, 200 gold into the pot, you can keep them. All right. Anyway, back to this. However, as much as discussing the spoils of war are exciting, the immediate concern is your the wounds that you 3 and sent was it 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
4 total.
Chief
4
makes-
total. Yeah, you 3 and Senya have been inflicted with. We will discuss payment and distribution of goods once we have this immediate concern handled. Everything will be stored in the central room until then. under guard. Everyone is
Oh, that sounds like a job for me, doesn't it?
everyone is
Mm.
permitted to keep an eye on the goods to ensure no funny business. But I do not feel comfortable discussing distribution until all party members have returned.
Okay.
Don't groan at me, Vilmaya.
In fact, I think I trust Artoris the most to oversee.
What? Do you mean him? The one I could push him and he'd fall over. He almost fell over walking into this room. I don't even know why.
And on that note, as the conversation goes to everyone will be fair paid, we'll discuss it later. The soot scales and the mercenaries seem satisfied. Artoris feels the scales are balanced. Could everyone make a perception check real quick?
Yes, they are pointy.
Not that pointy.
Pointier than yours, bitch.
How do you have so much perception? I rolled higher than you.
Keep telling people my ears are pointy, and you ask that question of me?
Oh, you have keen senses.
As y'all are having this conversation, from the basement, a bat goes, not like a werebat. That's important. More werebats, haha, roll. No, just a bat the size of like Minoru goes flying up into the air.
That's still a big bet.
That's
Like 140 pounds. That's a giant fucking bat.
It's a big
roll for
old
initiative.
bat. If you guys would like to take some shots at it, you can make. Basically, everyone has an attack roll worth of ranged attacks.
So, suddenly, this is Dust Till Dawn.
I don't see a particular. It's flying away. It just flew out of the basement.
Yeah, just like literally the bat out of hell, just booking it.
Are there any? It could be a vampire who transformed into his bat form and is
You mean
now.
a werebat to turn into a bat?
Does that happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Werebats are just
werebats turn
werebats,
into bats. Werebats turn into bats all the time.
Oh, they can turn into legit bats.
Yeah.
lycanthropes.
Cal
hybrid
knows
form,
at
lycanthropes
least
have-
Cal knows how lycanthropes work.
And
She's gonna try to kill it, sure.
Okay, fair enough. And with all the knowledge checks thrown around, yeah, a lycanthrope can turn into a hybrid of a humanoid and an animal, or its normal humanoid form, or literally just turn into whatever bit it, like the animal version of it. But alright, if Cal wants to take a pot shot, Cal may.
Is it airborne right now?
Yeah, it's probably, by the time you guys see it, it's probably like 60, 70 feet above this. And
Oof,
the javelin doesn't even
fails
come
again.
close.
Yeah, doesn't even fair enough.
The soot scales will, they see what's
Yep.
going down.
And the
And
rocks fly.
Ooh.
actually, two of them do connect with it. A couple of rocks, like 1, 2 in the back of the bat. The bat's flight pattern is kind of, sort of, ish messed with, but it doesn't really seem to stop and just takes off.
Cal's out here playing lawn darts.
Yeah.
Like she'll look back at Kato and Turris and go, "What are you doing? Why didn't you attack?"
I probably would have been too like I just felt the scales of Abadar shift beneath my feet, so I probably would have been a little too caught up
And I don't
in
have.
the whole divinity side.
What do you want me to do? Throw my sword at it?
You've got another one.
That's why I asked if it's how high in the air is it, like, because I had every intention to try to stab it if I could reach it, but 70 feet into the air is a little beyond my reach.
For all we know, that's another werebat out flapping around, biting people.
Mm-hmm. Very likely.
I suppose it doesn't matter. Well, creatures are people too. They're not all bad. Some of them, once they understand what they are, who they are, some of them are even born that way. They don't really have a choice in it.
All of that is accurate. Okay. Anything else y'all want to do? I believe that is. I will have been and continue to buzz through this book and make sure we've hit every treasure chest. You guys have the Stag Lord's loot already. That should be everything.
That was a strangely reasonable thing for Cal to say, so I'm suddenly suspicious.
You should be. She's also a werewood.
That's what I'm thinking. There's something going on here.
She's a werebat too. Ooh.
Ooh. Okay, so it sounds to me like a couple days pass as the rest of the Reclaimers set up camp in the fort. Ionia, Senya, Bakken, the horses make it back. Bakken wastes little time. Basically, as soon as the horse has slowed down enough that he could leap from the saddle and not break both his legs, he does so and runs to everyone as fast as he can. And okay, fair enough. I think we did it. I think I'm here in time. All the mercs and the chief. The chief tries to like puff his chest out. Obviously, he's in a lot of pain, but he's trying to just be as brave as possible through it. That said, everybody seems to be fine after.
Whew.
Well, I suppose congratulations are in order. Not much of a home, but so it was.
Your poison was shit.
What?
Rude. Poison is expensive. Good poisons can take someone down in a second.
You used it on the wrong target. That was your problem, Cal.
You probably also used it on the wrong target. Next time, perhaps target someone with a worse fort save.
Got him.
In 3.5 in Pathfinder, poisons are generally not cost effective. As the conversation happens and Bakken...
Cal's head spinning.
Bakken sees all of the assembled stuff and his eyes go real big and it's not a bad start, fair enough. Cato, can I have a moment, please?
Of course. I assume the tonics have been administered?
Yeah, that's what the 4d20 was for.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, would you like to speak outside or
Yes,
alone?
somewhere private. Unless you would like to have your friends with you, I think maybe this ought to be a you and me thing.
Absolutely. Yes, let's find somewhere secluded.
And so you do. Bakken reaches into his pocket and withdraws a pair of letters. I have news from Restov. You're not gonna like it, but I have it. He sets two of the letters face down on like a tree stump. One of them is much, much, much nicer than the other. One of them just kind of looks like brown, crumpled, here is some paper, I will write on this, here is a crappy envelope, throw it together. The other one might as well have been made yesterday. He passes them both towards you.
Cato puts his hand down on the letters. Where did you get these? How did you come to have them?
I think it would be better you just read them. I can tell you the whole story, but he looks down at the letters.
Cato nods, and I'm going to grab the first one, so I'm going to D2 it.
Okay.
So that's the crumpled one first. Or the older, the patchwork-looking one first.
Alrighty, I will copy it from this Google Doc. Very rarely these days do I make handouts for players, but this seemed appropriate. I will PM it to you.
Okay.
Oh, bam! Oh, bam! I missed some of the flavor text. I'm so good at copy-paste.
Cut the beginnings or ends off of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone, while Dell is reading, does anyone have anything that they want to do?
Cal's just sifting through the loot.
There's a lot of it.
That's me just explaining what I'm doing right now.
Fair enough.
I'll come up to Cal and be like, "Whoa, where'd all this come from?"
The spoils of war, witch. Come. There's plenty for you. Here's one of your kind. She'll throw this leather armor and a staff and a bunch of potions. Here, you take all that. It's all very weird and strange.
leather armor is weird and strange.
Well, no, the staff and the potions. Weird girl.
We meant to clarify earlier, by the way, that we were not going to bear Keston here. We were going to bring him back to Oleg's.
Okay, sure.
Ionia cackles at Cal.
Oh dear. Okay. Hold on.
Cal's haunches rise. It's like weird. She's weird.
And then I promptly leave that and where's my dog and start looking for Minoru.
Where's my dog?
Oh, I put them on the fire. He's fine.
She glares at Cal.
I imagine Minoru has probably been glued to you for as long as you've been here. Minoru's human has been gone for a couple days.
He's been glued to who?
You. Minoru's human has
Oh, like
returned
as soon
after
as I
being
come
gone.
in.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe he'd be like sleeping somewhere or something. I'm gonna go play with my pup.
Good enough for me.
Feed him that wooden holy symbol, whatever that does.
I'd like to ask the mercenaries what they were due to be paid.
Well, standard rate for mercenary work in Rostov is there's three of them with three very distinct voices. And I guess I'll have to make characters out of them now, won't I? Oh, perhaps a gold a week, share of spoils, share of loot, hazard pay, if you will.
Hmm. So you didn't have any. You had no arrangement set with Keston that as per your compensation.
They all just shake their head no. Oh no, we followed him because, well, nobleman goes out into the woods, we assume there's money to be had. Is that not why you're with Okato?
Can I sense motive?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, these guys are just following the trail that they thought would lead them to the most gold.
Okay.
Truthfully, Keston probably was as well.
Truthfully, Keston probably what?
Was as well. Like, he had
Okay.
followed you guys, he had gone to the fort because he assumed, to say nothing of a chance of getting his nobility back, the loot
I know.
involved with attacking the Stag Lord's fort. Strictly better than sitting around Oleg's chasing off 1d4 plus 1 bandits every 1d6 days, that kind of thing. As we then hit a pregnant pause, Bakken looks up at Kato as Kato is reading the letter. Oh, I see. Fair enough. Bam! Okay. The floor is still Urbody's. What do, team?
Are we still waiting on?
I'm on the second letter, so I'll be back with you guys in just a moment.
Pretty much.
Oh boy.
Y'all will understand why there's a pregnant pause here that I'm not editing out, because it's a real big one. Like I said, I've been looking forward to a plot twist that I came up with for quite a while.
Uh-oh.
I'm just tending to the horses.
Okay, fair enough.
I probably would, after I'm done talking with the mercenaries, because I kind of suspected, I thought maybe they had a set rate of pay, and they were just trying to be like, well, Keston's gone, maybe we should claim that we were in for more than we were due, but having been satisfied that they're being honest, I'm just going to make idle chit-chat with Chief Sitskill.
Okay, fair enough. He he's gotten himself a little more together now that his lycanthropy has been cured. He and the rest of his tribe seem a little more capable now than they were prior when they came in here. Matter of
Level
fact,
up.
pretty much. If no one in the party is against it, there was a masterwork short sword on the halfling's body that the chief would probably want to take for himself.
I think he's more than earned that, personally.
I have no problems with it. When it's when someone is victorious in war, it's customary to take a trophy.
This was a what on which body? I just want to make sure I don't put it on the sheet.
Right. Should be on one of the rogues. They probably had some masterwork short swords. Oh, never mind. It was not masterwork. Excuse me, what? Just a regular short sword.
Okay, gotcha.
He's gonna Cal's gonna toss 2 moon radishes. Yeah, we'll eat.
Oh, we will. And there's a big as bite into the moon radish, and the party begins. As all of this is going on in a secluded place outside the fort, Cato and Bakken still sit. Bakken just kind of looks up at Cato.
A single tear streams down Cato's cheek as he shakes his head and wipes it away. He takes a deep breath, looks down at Bakken and says, "This was not the message I was hoping you would bring."
Certainly, I can imagine. That's not good news for anyone. Let alone the, dare I say, the fop that's gone far from home. I'm sorry.
Cato nods. This doesn't mean we're finished. We'll figure this out one way or another.
We will. You've done...
I thank you for...
Far as I can see, you've done well enough here in the Stolen Lands. If nothing else, my house won't be burned by bandits, so... I'll stick with you. We'll figure it out.
We should make our way back to the group and let them know of our new current status out here.
All right. I'll let you do the talking. And Bakken and Cato return to the fort.
Would you guys be okay if we gave the armor to one of the armor? Like, would Suitscale be able to use studded leather armor?
Yeah, he's proficient.
So just because it makes my job really, really difficult, I'd prefer if we don't give anything away until I have everything on the sheet, so that we don't end up doubling up on things.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would like to.
to.
I would like to look at the complete sheet before requesting claim to anything or giving anything or saying we can give this. We should take that. So I think let's get a. Yeah, you're in the process of putting the consolidated.
I'm working
list
on that
together.
now, and everything that we got from this location will be highlighted on the loot sheet.
Okay, so let's get that, and then we'll use that to kind of bookkeep it, because I don't want to either
For sure.
double
you
promise
guys are
something.
just making my life like really difficult with everybody being like, I take this, and so takes this, and so takes this. I'm like, I'm still on the first page.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just saying plans wise. I wasn't actually gonna. I'm not talking about like putting things on sheets yet at this point.
For sure.
Just taking the temperature of the room.
I'm
Well, you
okay
guys-
with it.
Always the agreeable one.
I
When
like
it comes
Suitscale.
to this scale, anyway.
Mm-hmm. All
Ever
right,
since he
so
clobbered that shaman.
that was sweet.
It's been a fan from day one.
All right, so Cato returns to the group as you're all shoveling through the loot with a very somber look on his face. News from Brevoy and Restov. He pauses for a moment. I don't know how to begin, so I guess I'll just spit it out. There's been developments back home. Our expedition into these lands have been discovered by House Sertova, and they did not take kindly to us being here. Their king has made an example of my house, my family, and has essentially, under threat of pain of death, declared us exiles from the country. He pauses for a moment. That's even worse, is the punishment being met upon my family. But that aside, they do not what's the word I'm looking for? They do not recognize the legitimacy of our claim here, which was to be expected. But yes, so that is where we stand now. Long story short, we are all banished from Brevoy. These are our lands now, it would appear. This is our only home.
Well, that is more or less what we were going for as well, right? So it's unfortunate that it came to this so quickly, but...
What do you mean we are all banished from Brevoy? Are you speaking of your house, or are you implying that in some way all of our names have been?
Cato opens the letter, going down to the very last line of the one that was issued by the king of Brevoy. Cato Sicarius, as well as his 4 individuals, as well as the 4 individuals that left Restov on this expedition, and for whom, and any whom they also share an alliance, are hereby banished from Brevoy upon pain of death.
I mean, 4 individuals is pretty vague.
This is serious. Is there a way we could send word back to Brevoy? I have things I need to take care of. I can't. Then she storms off out of the fort.
Cato puts the letter that was issued by the king of Sertova down on the some like a table or something in the room for anyone to read if they wish. He keeps the other letter squared away in his...
I immediately go to look at the letter he just put down.
Alrighty. Some of this will be addressed as if it were directed at Cato for the purposes of your father addressed to you.
Yeah, the letter directly from my father, I'm not putting down. I'm keeping that on me, but the official one with the king's seal.
Cato, you said they had made an example of your family. What exactly does that mean? Or is your father okay?
It's in the letter, is all he says.
Suppose I should read it for everyone who's watching on YouTube. The recipient of this letter is hereby formally charged by King Naleski Sertova with the unlawful seizure of lands to Brevoy's eastern border, the elevating of non-noble individuals to noble-like status, and unlawfully leading an expedition into unclaimed lands to further the seditious goals of Rosland and the Eldori. As of the time of writing this proclamation, you are formally stripped of all rank and titles within the lands of Brevoy. All of your rights to lands and holdings are hereby forfeit, and all remaining assets will be immediately seized by the crown upon the death of Saul Sicarius, unless he should sire another right and lawful heir to his house. You are free to continue whatever expedition you please into the wild lands, but Brevoy does not recognize any claims Cato Sicarius or his cohort have to royalty, and further, will not recognize any creation of a state in these lands as more than the usual banditry that comes from the region. House Sicarius has formally denounced the recipient's actions and taken oaths before gods and humanoids to never contact Cato Sicarius again on pain of death. Fines levied against the house in payment for its former members' crimes must be paid in full within the year, or the Crown reserves the right to increase said fines, seize property, or any other actions the Crown sees fit. Cato Sicarius, as well as the 4 individuals that left Restov on this expedition, and any with whom they share allegiance, are hereby banished from Restov on pain of death. Hereby banished from Brevoy on pain of death. The mercs see this too and I guess they don't get super somber, but their look of relief goes over the 3 of them as they realize that going back to Brevoy probably wasn't the best idea for them.
Oh, that's true. If we'd let them go.
Well, good thing you re-rolled that diplomacy, huh?
Indeed.
So I assume Artoris was the one who, since he grabbed the letter, was the one who actually read this aloud.
Sure, works for me.
I guess I would first look at Ionia and see what her face is looking like.
She's got a pretty serious look on her face. Her brow is kind of furrowed, and she seems to be deep in thought, looking a little somber. You, Artoris, would probably guess that she's most likely thinking about her father.
Are we all still up on this like weird platform?
I left.
We're on the main
But you
level
left,
now.
Yeah. Are we on the main level?
Yeah.
Wait, did the owlbear leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's been gone for a while.
I would
into the
probably
basement.
walk past Ionia and put my hand on her shoulder briefly before going to, I don't know, where's a good brooding place? Like this tower over here.
Did Cal leave or just go outside?
No, she's on her way back to Brevoy.
Oh shit!
There are affairs that need to be settled. Goes off.
No, she just walked out of the fortress.
Okay, I was gonna say she grabbed a horse and just took off. It's like, oh, and that was the last we ever heard of Cal. Cato clears his throat and stands up on one of the crates above everyone and clears his throat. He holds up the letter and tears it in half.
Why did you need to clear your throat to do that?
Because I'm going to say something. This is all pointless showery. We all knew that House Sertova was not going to approve of our expedition here. It was only a matter of time before they caught wind. Whether it was today, tomorrow, a month from now, all of us here knew that about the tension of Brevoy between Rosalind and Now, I've never actually said this in character. How do you pronounce? What's the pronunciation for the other half of Brevoy, Tommy?
The Sertovas?
Not Isia.
Yes, yeah.
Isia, yeah. We all know of the animosity between Rostov and Isia, and we knew that they would not take kindly to us coming here. They were never going to acknowledge our claim here. They were never going to identify us as royalty or as a kingdom. So this is of no surprise to me, and this is of no consequence. We will rise above this. They do not get to choose whether or not our claim here is legitimate. That is not for them to say. That is for us to say. And we will rise. We will rise above even them. And we will become a nation greater than they are until they have no choice, not only to acknowledge our existence, but also give us the respect that we deserve.
Ionia comes over and kind of puts her. She walks past Cato a little bit, so they're like kind of shoulder to shoulder facing different directions. She puts her hand on his shoulder and says, "Zanoth heard my prayers, friend," and then just keeps walking.
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I was just talking about my ancestors. No big deal.
Oh,
In my
Gotcha.
reflection, the
Gotcha.
last little bit was asking my ancestor to give you the strength to be a true leader.
oh.
I was just acknowledging that was a cool thing.
The one last thing I'll say before stepping down is, with that said, we all have family and friends back home who we do not wish to endanger. So for the time being, we will take no action to antagonize House Sertova. We will do as they wish for now, but when the time comes, we will see our families again and ensure their safety.
I kind of approach Cato, inspired by his speech, and I extend my arm and proclaim, "You have my rancier."
And my bow.
And my bow.
Just don't use it against monks.
Can I get a my axe?
And Ox's axe lifts it up. Can't quite pick it up, drops it.
Holds up Kessel's masterwork axe and Kessel's axe.
He reaches down and picks up the now torn letter, hands it to Arcturus, and who's doing the burning of the bodies? Have we actually burnt them yet?
Yeah,
Or are
fire's
they
going.
just fire's gone? Okay.
Fire's going.
He's gonna walk over to the pyre and toss the two halves of the letter into the fire.
Jeez. Anything else you want to do to that letter?
Stomp on the ashes.
No, I think that's good. Tear it, burn it. That's what I think of House Sertova. All right.
Okay.
I mean, I also don't like House Sertova, but I just got banished as a personal favor to a friend. It's kind of outrageous.
It's one of those.
I was just here watching over this little kid.
Yeah. Guilty by association. I mean, I'm sure if you were to return, you could plead for your, plea for mercy and for absolvement if you. I mean, everyone has. I won't force anyone to be here, of course. And I'm sure many of those of you who do come from Isia may be able to find a way back into their good graces. However, I leave that choice up to each and every one of you.
Bakken climbs up amidst the pregnant pause, gets on top of one of the boxes so it can be at head level with the squad and looks at me. All right, fair enough. I've heard enough. Cato, I was going to ask each of them if they would be willing to support you as we go and begin to play king here in these unclaimed wild lands. I don't really need to see your skill with a blade. If you brought down the Stag Lord, I think that's good enough for me. Your test, you've passed. I don't have a lot of authority with the Aldori. We haven't spoken in many years. But technically speaking, I am able to put my stamp on things. He nods.
Is
Yeah,
Bakken
yes,
an Eldori?
Bakken was once. Kato chuckles and says, "It's good to see you take up the mantle of Bakken Aldori once again."
I
As he
don't want
sort
the
of
mantle. I
chuckles.
left for a reason. Honor and glory and bravery are all well and good and all, but I'm almost 30 years old. I ain't gonna live much longer. And I've had too many broken ribs to really be all about honor and glory these days. I'd much prefer to figure out how things work, heal the sick, sometimes explode people who get a little too close to me. But it is what it is.
Kato nods.
Plot twist.
Plot twist, yeah.
The Soot Scales, the Mercenaries, Bakken, they all get kind of quiet. As, like, I guess the sound of smoldering corpses and letters just kind of goes across the countryside here.
That letter has a pungent smell.
I cast silence on the fire.
Resolves.
No.
Well, now what? Bakken looks at Kato.
Now,
I'm brooding.
yeah. This is very.
Actually, no. At some point, brooding turned to praying for guidance.
I guess in light of what I'm actually doing, Ionia is sitting by the pile of loot and separating things into like categories, documenting, praising everything.
Cal's at the. She's probably like at the edge of the fire's light. She's got the music box open. She's just sitting there.
What time is it? Are we in the day? Is it night?
Probably like middle of the afternoon.
Okay.
Oh, I figured it was night by now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure. I was gonna say if it's night, this would be a good. We should all just kind of settle in for the night and have our bad dreams and pick this, and start a fresh day tomorrow. But
Sun will go down in a couple hours.
our bad dreams of execution at the hands of our new enemies.
We still have to distribute some
We do, and
percentage
we're,
base share with our two
and
friends.
we're kind of, and we're just kind of waiting for Ionia to.
I mean, don't wait on me because I'm.
Well,
Yeah.
they said they get paid how much a week? 5 gold.
Oh no, it was 1 gold a week plus
Plus
having a share of
share.
everything.
Yeah, 1 gold a week with no
give 'em a- Just give them a flat 5.
Can we just kind of like hand wave paying everybody out and?
Well, we should at least-
later.
Just give them a flat 5. It's fine. It's a
Hold
lot of
on.
money.
It's good enough while the quartermaster is quartermastering, it can be safe to assume that everyone has been paid for time and hazards and comes out of somewhere after everything has been split amongst the players and stuff. There's certainly more than enough there.
Yeah, it's mostly like the non-usable stuff. Like there was all those boxes of furs and like other like merchant goods that want to make sure that people get like. Obviously, I feel like the crown is going to refer to us as that from now on. Takes the lion's share, but not that everyone. But enough gets distributed out that everyone feels like they've been well compensated, and there's no like. No feeling of being shorted or cheated. It's kind of but until we have a total value, I don't know what. So maybe how many are there? All right, so there's the 2 mercenaries.
3.
How many times will you get that wrong?
Oh, I keep
Every time.
It's
I'll put
because
it
the
over
third
here.
one's. Yeah, there we go. All right, there's 3 mercs, the kobolds.
The end.
Bakken did like journey all the way down here to cure our lycanthropy for free at this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can discuss this all off screen, right? No reason to waste game time
Certainly.
doing this.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
As long as it has been established that it's going to happen, both Abadar and the folks around you are sated.
Yes, we will add. We're not going to short these people. Okay. Very good then. So I guess I'll just finish my last thought saying, like, I will not force any of you to continue to accompany us. Obviously, what I said before still stands. You're all welcome as, heroes among us, and are welcome to stay with us as long as you wish to create this new nation. However, should any wish to leave now, there will be no hard feelings. Given this new information that has come to light. He looks around to see if there are any responses.
The Mercs and the Sit Scales and Bakken all they nod and say nothing.
Cato looks over to Artoris, knowing that he is a native of Isia. He is here only at the behest of a friend to look after someone. He's probably the most likely, Cato believes, who would try to return and attempt to have his crimes abolished by the crown, as he was only here.
I mean, you don't need to remind me.
Right. So that's why I'm looking at you right now.
I mean, I'm just kind of... I was up in this tower. Can you even see me up there?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, you're
He
in
can
the
certainly
tower.
find you.
Are you finding me? Do you want to have a conversation? Or are you just...
I didn't realize you were all the way up there. All right.
I wouldn't want to walk up those stairs.
Fuck
Yeah.
that.
So all right. So I'll nod at everyone and say, I'll just nod at everyone at their silence and make my way up to the tower.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And as I approach, I kind of keep a distance because it looks like you're at the battlement. I'm going to just stand at the foot of the stairs. And what are your thoughts, friend?
Well, if you'd been paying attention, you'd know I was in the middle of prayer right. But thanks for interrupting that.
Wow.
I've never been one for the holy arts.
Well, certainly been the beneficiary of them. Perhaps it's time you changed.
He nods.
Regardless, my place. I've felt Abadar in this place as I've been here very strongly. He obviously has an interest in these lands, and throughout my life, I have been instrumental in upholding the order of an existing civilization. But it is, of course, a great honor for any follower of Abadar to bring order to previously lawless lands. But I will admit, obviously, that's something that is a bit foreign. It is very different from the life that I am accustomed to, and I will miss my home greatly. But I understand the trial that is before me. I worry, however, that Ionia is not ready for it.
At what you said about missing your lifestyle back home, he snickers. You're preaching to the choir, friend. See, looks around. I was actually planning to make a trip home after the battle, as I'm growing anxious to enjoy some of the creature comforts that I've been familiar with. However, it seems like I will be stuck in uncivilized lands for a little longer.
Well, it's our shared duty to bring civilization here.
I think Ionia will be fine. She is young, but she is curious, and she learns fast. And with you
Perhaps.
protecting her, I have no doubts of her safety.
Out of character, aren't you younger than me?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm talking like
I want it to
maturity.
be true, but oh, okay.
How old are you?
21.
So yeah, you are a year older, but you act like a child, I guess.
You act like a child. Get out of here.
I'm concerned that, and well, actually, I'll trail off. Out of character, I was going to say something about her missing her father, but I realized that's probably not the best thing to say under the circumstances to Kate.
Oh,
So I'm going to just trail that off. And
Kato just, nods to I almost got your name wrong, Artoris, and descends back down the stairs. Back to the group, and with newly formed resolve. Well, I guess we better figure out our next plan of action then. Sitting around here sulking isn't going to get us anywhere. If I do recall correctly, if we want to get our minds off of this bad news, whatever. I'm struggling now. We did make a promise to a certain. He points over to the Stag Lord's corpse. It was not added to the stack of burning bodies. I believe we had an arrangement with a certain restless spirit.
Ionia jumps up from the pile of loot and is like, yes, let's do that. Getting kind of restless.
So, as you guys get ready to head out, Balkans, wait, hang on, one moment, hold on, wait. So, if we're doing this, if we're building a new state here in the middle of nowhere, before you go off, I'm willing to help manage the day-to-day affairs of things. I count 3 mercenaries. I imagine if you ask the Soot Scales, they'd probably stay as well. Maybe you don't need to ask them. It's gonna be cold real soon. It's safer to travel in numbers. I imagine Oleg and Svetlana would also, in a similar fashion, follow you unto the ends of the earth. But before we do anything crazy like that, we need to decide where home is. We can start fortifying, we can start building, we can start preparing for the inevitability of people realizing that someone's gathering power in the Stolen Lands and doesn't intend to kill everyone in sight to maintain it. I imagine people will flock to you.
Yes, my initial thoughts of using Oleg's trading post as has sort of, I now think is a bad idea given the fact that we probably should not set up somewhere so close to the border of Bravor.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to relocate Oleg and Svetlana as well, given that they've been close allies of ours and are very close to the border.
Yeah.
would it be possible to, cleanse this area? Because this fort would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's, kind of centrally located. And
There is that nice little lake, too.
yeah.
I am fond of living near lakes. Feels like home.
Waterfront property.
I just wonder if this structure, carries with it a lot of tales, a lot of stories of tyranny, of banditry, of terrible things inflicted upon the people of this land. I don't think we should associate our new regime with this fort. Too many.
Okay. Well, near as I can see it from what I've heard, short of you wanting to live in the Soot Scale Caverns, you've got a few options. this old tower here, situated next to a couple rivers, sitting on the water, central location, easily defendable barriers, basically halfway to a keep in its own right. It's not the worst place in the world. Oleg's trading post isn't either. That said, it is technically in Brevoy, but I don't think anyone remembers that. I think you would be fine by the time they would notice that a new state has sprung up to their border, short of them just sending soldiers and burning it to the ground. Of course, that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I
Let's live with the mites and the old sycamore.
I really, for the time being,
Our oldest allies.
yeah, I feel like we all have family back home. We've all been told that that we're banished. If we were to spring up a colony or a settlement right in like the edges of their land, I feel like there could be repercussions for that. It's probably not the best idea.
Fucking nods.
All things considered, I think this particular location, no matter what the past was, like no matter what past is associated with it, is probably the most defensible position.
Weren't there stories of this being like a haunted area?
Yeah, we got attacked by zombies when you were gone.
All the fun things happen when I leave.
Should have probably mentioned that after you returned.
Well, we have I feel like we can
What's
probably...
stopping us from changing that past and like changing the associations that this place has had with the past?
Senia does indeed have a point. There have been many an empire try to conquer this part of the world, and many of the empire fall. I don't think they were super concerned about who came before. Certainly, anyone can start over, given enough motivation, given enough... He goes to say something snide and then stops himself. And I shouldn't. I'm sorry. The wound is fresh. I understand. That said, right now, I wouldn't be worried about the past. I would be worried about today. I would be worried about where home is.
Well, if there are no other, I guess that
Go live in the moonradish field.
I might suggest that temple Jod was talking
the Temple
about.
of the Elk.
Oh yeah, it's not an Abadarian temple though, so...
Ooh, yeah.
We're gonna have some. Yeah, I figured the holy ones might be a little iffy about that.
It's all right temple, just feel like we.
It's a nice enough location. The well is nice, but I don't feel like building a city on a deity that none of us actively follow is maybe.
Senya
Looks awkwardly at Senia.
Oh, is Senya? She just never talks about religion. Kudos to you, friend. Not
this is the most defensible.
Erastel's let live kind of god. Like, I'm not going to proselytize on him. He knows his followers.
I respect that.
This is the most defensible position, so I would say this still makes the most sense.
It's on a lake and a river and a crossing, and the Soot Scale Caverns are very close by. Nettles Crossing is close by.
Having the river access will also make trade easier for us. And given that we are in the river kingdoms, technically, yeah, it kind of makes sense to utilize the rivers.
How wide are these rivers? Like, could we sail a boat up? Is that something that could be done?
More
No,
like
'cause that
sailing
red mark-
like a long ship or a really big canoe. They're pretty big, yeah.
Was that red mark where it was shallow, where we were able to cross?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, it kind of puts a. But south, lots of the lakes become very. I believe the rivers, as you move south and you move west, or maybe not west, east.
What if we did like an Erie Canal situation? We made our own.
You certainly could.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, those rivers extend basically through the entire, like, mid-eastern part of Avestan. Setting up alongside them isn't the worst idea.
Yeah.
And on that note, I don't know how far my vote carries, but I would vote here as well.
Well, I'm with Bakken.
Of course you are.
A great distance from your hut, friend. But all right.
Oh, you don't know. I leave my hut in the winter because you can't grow things because it starts snowing. I'll make my way back up there. I'll pack everything up. I was going to set up at Oleg's, but I can set up here as well. Assuming I'm not assuming too much. Looks at Kato.
Not at all, friend.
You're always welcome with us, Bakken.
Good enough for me.
Oh boy, do you guys want to share a room?
Hold on, Bakken.
Yep.
I know the fort is a very defensible position, but might I suggest you check out the hot springs if you're looking to grow things.
You mean the ones where those big frogs like to hang out? Is that what you mean? Draws all kinds of wild animals. I ain't trying to get eaten.
Wow.
Yeah, what are you trying to do to this poor guy?
Remember he sent us to get his berries because the Steve didn't want to get eaten by spiders. Now you want to send him to get eaten by toads.
I might technically be an Aldori sword lord. That doesn't mean I'm not afraid of bugs that are bigger than me.
Yeah, he's also expressed that he's specifically afraid of insects.
Fair enough. I was just looking out for like year-round.
Wait, frogs or insects?
No,
Close enough. It's small. Usually it's slimy. Usually this one's now bigger, still slimy. I don't like it.
Fair enough. I thought we got rid of the frogs, but I guess they come back.
That's the thing about wild animals in the wilderness. There tends to be more of them.
There was all kinds of pollywogs and stuff in the. So yeah, there will be more frogs.
All right, I guess.
You realize you said polywags instead of tadpoles, right?
No, I said pollywog. I meant pollywogs because
Okay.
they had two legs.
Hopefully they don't bump into Waterstones, turn into Polyraths, make a serious bid for leadership in the Stonelands. Stuff's real bad.
Oof.
Okay, so here we are heading out to Nettles Crossing.
Are you coming, Cal, or are you just gonna be like...
You guys said anything to her? She's still son.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
She didn't know any of this happened.
I was also going to probably stay. I don't think we need to send everyone to Nettles Crossing. Someone should.
I want to go to Devil's Crossing.
I mean, I'm definitely going.
You're going, yeah.
I'll go.
Everybody but Cal go.
Well,
So-
Kato's staying behind, too.
Okay,
I think-
that's
And the
mean-
mercs and everything. I think I should
Oh,
stay back
okay.
with the rest of the folks as we kind of discuss like rebuilding plans and because this
We
place
were a
is
little concerned that we'll, like... Well, alright.
concerned that what?
Like, we
Oh.
would release him, and he'd be like, aha, now I can kill you all. But I
Then you
suppose
get
it's
what you
fine.
deserve at that point.
So Cal, are you staying here with me?
Well, if someone wants to come and ask her if she wanted to go to give the body to a dead thing, she would say no.
That sounds like witchcraft.
I was just assuming that, so I'm not even gonna ask.
So Ionia, Arcturus, and Senya will go. Kato and Cal will stay with the mercs and the kobolds and Goblin Dude,
Bakken.
Bakken, and discuss how we want to renovate the property and prepare for winter, because winter is coming.
Winter is coming. Okay, so then what I'll do is, as that's going on, I will jump in our general chat, and here is a link to the SRD for exactly how kingdom building works. Betwixt all of Bakken's alchemical sundries that he will bring, everything you found at the fort, Oleg and Svetlana would probably also chip in as well. You guys have 50 build points. By choosing the Stag Lord's fort as setup, basically, you have... I gotta scroll. I'm at the wrong part of the AP once again. The AP thinks it's the best choice as well. By setting up here, you have you are halfway now, or rather, it cuts the cost in half of building a castle, because you basically have half a castle now.
Castle starter set.
In addition,
Nice.
since this is, you can always move it, but since this is the first settlement you guys are building, technically this is your capital. Your capital has a +1 on economy, loyalty, and stability, as it is very centralized, and it being on a hill with a lake to its back super easy to defend.
Do we get like a kingdom character sheet, or how do we keep track of this?
I can give you one. One exists. Or you can... Here's what I'll do for now. I don't myself like the way the kingdom character sheet is set up. I can grab one real quick if you would like, or I can give you this handout for notes now, because we're still kind of in the setup phase, and I don't necessarily know how you guys want to like run it. That's it. If you'd like a character sheet, I can grab it real fast while people are moving.
I mean, did you? If you don't like it, have you ever used like an alternative?
Usually I just write notes on paper.
I can probably set something up. Just add that to like our loot/note sheet.
Yeah,
It's probably the easiest way to run it. A lot of like Paizo's extra stuff has always felt kind of cramped, and like the sheet itself is not the size of a character's character sheet, so you would be jotting things all over the place anyway. But that's
Do you maybe want to like link me the character sheet just so I have it as a reference, so I know like what kinds of things I need to put on there?
For sure. I'll grab it right now.
Are we? Do we have to set a kingdom alignment? Right.
Yes, the kingdom's alignment will probably default to the ruler's alignment, or like maybe depending on who goes where kinds of things. Like if Artoris becomes the high priest and lots of Abadarans go that direction, the kingdom will gradually over time shift to lawful neutral.
Well, Cato, you're lawful neutral anyway, right?
I'm
Moment of truth. Is Cato the evil one?
lawful or
I
neutral?
feel like
No.
Cato
I am
has
lawful
probably
neutral.
taken some steps towards LE, but has
So I
walked it
started.
back.
I started neutral, like flat,
True
was-
neutral.
true neutral, and that was
Ew.
that was intentional because Cato's young and didn't really, he was still finding his way. So I wanted it to be like a blank slate, so that his actions throughout the first book would direct him one way or the other. That's how I was kind of RPing it. So with this said, I feel like now that we're at end of book 1, unless Tommy disagrees, I think I could say that canvas has been painted more towards like lawful neutral.
I agree. There was a point in time where I was thinking maybe Cato would have been leaning closer to neutral evil, but I feel like a lot of the steps that have been taken recently I won't inherently say walk it back, but the way things have been painted to me seem to shift a little more towards LN.
I feel like Cato just experienced a little bit of an episode 5 in his hero's journey.
What's
That makes sense to me.
Settle down.
What's an episode 5?
Really?
I'm only about half sure myself.
This is a point of
It's
knowledge.
like the low point of the journey.
Oh.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars Empire. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Empire.
I shouldn't be surprised that Esker is the only one who understands what I'm talking about half the time.
So with lawful neutral, we get +2 economy, +2 stability.
Sounds right to me.
I don't think there are any. And I know that's Esker's alignment. I'm pretty sure that's Esker's alignment and most of the party's alignment.
Mm-hmm.
The only one
Abadar's
who would-
alignment and
The only one who varies from that, I'm pretty sure, is Cal.
I am not lawful neutral, but
Barbarians can't be lawful. So there you go.
Senya can, because her archetypal has it.
Yep.
She's
That's
not
true. I
real.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, yes. Geminate invokers can be they can be lawful, but that has to be lawful neutral. They can't.
Well,
be,
no, I didn't know. Well, that's good, but no, I didn't even know that barbarians could. I mean, it makes sense. I wasn't aware of that rule of their class.
I usually
Yeah.
hand wave that as well. Usually I'm more apt to say like a paladin is within one step of their deity, a cleric inquisitor is the same, but like a druid, as long as they aren't like, trees, cut them all down, haha. Like the neutral component doesn't really, like, it exists, but I'm not real hard on it. Same for barbarians too. So if Cal wants to switch at some point, Cal certainly could.
No.
No.
Are we
Matter
gonna
of fact,
appoint?
I associate lawful neutral with the alignment of like honor and things like that, which I associate with a lot of the not like pillaging and looting sorts of barbarians.
So guys, we just established our capital. What's its name?
Ooh.
What's the name of this lake?
Does the lake have a name?
The lake has a name.
Escartania.
We're not calling it. I've seen Escartania on nation states, and it's a scary place.
Thraskoville.
It's not scary if you follow the law. Exactly.
My man.
Cato Nation.
Catonia.
Catonia.
Catatonia. That lake itself is called the Tuskwater. On the right-hand side,
Ugh.
over right, beep, that is the Shrike River, and this is the Skunk River.
I'm sorry, what
All right, we're not naming our kingdom based on the bodies of water then.
Yeah.
Shrike
what
Skunk
did-
Tusktonville.
did you say the lake is called?
Hang on, I'll write it down real quick.
Named after that boar we killed? Or vice versa?
I'm not sure. The AP does not tell me. It seems like not the worst way to frame it.
Tuskar Totemics, got it.
That is an obscure Hearthstone reference. Nice.
We shall henceforth be known as Lordaeron.
Can we rename this lake?
I mean,
Yep.
We can do whatever
Good.
we want. We can do whatever we want.
have a name in mind?
Something.
So,
Wow.
I mean, in theory,
Beautiful.
we could rename everything here, every lake, every river, every valley and forest.
You are no longer the Soot Scales.
You are now Dragonborn.
I'm sure they'd love that.
It strikes more fear if we have like a vanguard force known as the Dragonborn, and it's just a bunch of kobolds.
We need to like gear them out because their slings are not good.
We could
Yeah,
have a
that's-
contingency of our army that's known as the Dragon Knights that
The Dragon Knight. I love it. We'll knight them. Okay, but this is all things that we can figure out later.
We might have to figure out these names off after session or something.
We'll have to do it in
Yeah, you guys
probably
certainly can.
text
The
RP.
names that exist here are names passed on from, like, the Skunk River is called the Skunk River because there's a hot spring that smells like sulfur down it.
Right.
There's no one here to back up the name. It's not like I can, like, go to, I sit on the corner of Gillum and Armor. I can't go to Armor Boulevard and, like, scratch the sign out and write Tommy Street and it's canon now.
Oh, that doesn't work?
I guess I haven't tried. Be right back.
All right.
I have a mission.
Tommy, real quick, you said that we have 50 build points,
Yes.
and we, for building a castle, it's 50% because of where we're situated.
Correct, because using the old Eobarian tower that the Stag Lord had set up on is you basically have half a castle now.
So if we wanted to finish the castle, so castle's 54 build points. So to finish this one would be 27 of our 50. Did I do the math right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Math checks out.
Math checks out. Cathedrals are expensive. A city wall is 2. I feel like we should build in preparation for the winter. Having the castle be completed is probably like, considering we already get a 50% discount on it, it's probably something good to
Well,
do
I
right
think
away.
we need a city before we need a city wall.
And given
Sure.
that our kingdom itself is fairly small right now, we should all be able to fit in this castle for the winter.
A few guys that we pay and some kobolds. Yeah, we could probably be.
Yeah, a few guys that we pay. Our citizens.
Fortress of we could build a Fortress of the Faith for 80 build points at some point.
Sounds good.
A granary might be a good idea.
That sounds really
Well, when do we appoint? Like, we don't have to do the positions yet.
You can
Or
do
do
them
we?
as soon as you're ready. This is the point of Kingmaker where things begin to operate twofold, shall I
Right.
say. That's why I asked you guys in the past couple weeks how in-depth you wanted to do the kingdom stuff, because
Right.
that's how much I researched. You guys can definitely, if you wanted to spend the rest of your time exploring hexes and kicking dire bears in the face, certainly you can. But these are all questions that would need to be answered at like some point, or if you're just not that interested, Bakken can take over.
So I
Not
have
as, not as ruler. Bakken is just like rising in power. He just like it will run in the background.
Bakken can be
The
what's
foreman
his name?
of the construction, if you will.
As for what's that goblin who builds the
Gazlo?
Gazlo?
Ugh, please stop.
Will never stop.
Okay, well, I mean, with that said, I think it's pretty. I mean, we can discuss like how we want to like expand out as time goes on, but I think step one is let's finish this. Let's turn this shitty fort into a glorious castle for the winter, so we can,
Should
have
we
a.
get this body to that river before it decomposes?
Well, no, that's a good point. That's also a very good point.
Before
I
we
mean,
start
these things are
spending
happening-
months building.
That
No,
you
I
guys
think we-
already left to do that.
Yeah, I think this is something like you guys can leave and we can start working on this while you guys are making the trip.
Okay. And are we?
I just want to make sure we're in
I wouldn't
agreement.
mind. I guess I don't know if I voiced my opinion, but I wouldn't mind more. Like I don't know. Like
You like to micromanage the
Systems.
state and things like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just my preference.
agreed. I
I think we all kind of landed there.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I think we landed at we are somewhere between every single solitary detail of everyone's name and class level and how many bricks are in the castle.
We
We're
landed
not
at like
there.
1.5.
Yeah.
Oh, this was the one where there were 3 options and we
Yeah.
all picked. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if you
pretty much.
guys wanted to decide your kingdom roles, you certainly could now. Like I said before, I think, and I'll say it now for YouTube, I'm pretty sure any ability score that you guys can justify to me can be used for any kind of role during the kingdom checks. Ionia kind of has the lion's share on that because I feel like intelligence can do basically everything. Wisdom
I
can
can do
certainly-
basically everything. Thank you for noticing.
Exactly. That said, also, if you don't want a king or you want 2-3 generals, I know. I just put it out there. The government will look the way you guys want it to.
So I have a
Narcos Syndicus Commune.
We could, since we play every other week, we could on the off weeks get together for like an hour or two and discuss kingdom building, so that when we're in game, we have a better idea of what we're doing.
Isn't there a reason we play every
Ooh.
other week, centered around Tibor's schedule?
Oh, Tibor.
I'm sure we could find an hour somewhere
Nope.
during the week
Even just like put it in Discord.
or
like-
discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why we have to.
Everybody can check Discord. Be like, hey, we'd like to do this.
And then we can just, if we do have like verbal discussions, we can just use that as part of our intro at the beginning of a session. Be like, so for this week, we decided as a council we want to do this.
I mean, we can do voice chat at any. I mean, we can find an
Yeah.
hour to meet up if we. I'm sure we can align schedules.
Yeah, that's what I'm
to
thinking.
accomplish
We have
that.
Works for me.
Just a 1 hour sometime on the off week to have a council of lords to discuss these things in an RP perspective from our positions.
Makes sense.
That way we're not. And then we can update Tommy on what our decision is at the start of
Yes.
every session.
Or just like, again, jam it in, what am I trying to say? Jam it in somewhere in Discord, be like, hey, we did this, and I'll make a note of it. But
With
in any
that-
case, for the time
With that,
being,
yeah, I was just gonna say. With that said, as far as like who wants to take on like the actual official assigning of the roles, I know I talked to you about this, Tommy, but instead of just like out of character saying, okay, you're this person, you're this person, you're this person, I kind of had an idea of like an in character sort of thing for that. So, but I would like to know what everybody wants their role to be. So,
Okay. And I'll
Out
put
of
it out here
character.
again. There are, as you look through the kingdom stuff, there are some that say, like, if you don't have this, you take this penalty. You guys won't take a penalty for not having somebody around to do a thing unless, for example, let's say, I know this isn't what's happening, but say Oleg becomes the general. You could make Oleg the general. It'd be hilarious. But if that were to happen and then Oleg were to die and then he didn't get replaced, then you would start, like, there would be penalties involved. But if you want to build a kingdom that does not have a general or does not have a high priest or does not have so on and so forth, you will not be penalized for building the way you want to.
we don't want a high priest.
Let's have Keston be our general. Oh,
Mm,
Who's now?
no, I wanted him to be like captain of the guard, like captain of the King's Guard. Would have been great.
Captain of the-
I was obviously between High Priest and Treasurer. I don't know what we would prefer, but probably High Priest and then Ionia Treasurer, I guess, given the way everything's shaped out.
That's basically how the game is run so far.
Mhm.
I also feel like
Well, I think you and I would just handle different aspects of treasure. Like you would handle tax collection, but I would handle like budgeting and things like that.
what did you think of Magister, Ionia? Guides the kingdom's higher learning,
So
education.
we would need somebody else to kind of cover the magic areas because Ionia is not inherently magic. I could probably like teach classes about the concepts or whatever, but yeah, I'm cool with she definitely has like a love of history and a desire to share that.
I mean, a
And
little bit
that's-
out of character. If you look at the benefits, I don't know what your wisdom or what's your intelligence modifier, Ionia.
It's insane.
Is it as insane as my wisdom modifier?
I assume you're both.
It's it's a 20 right now.
Okay, yeah. Then I guess I would go.
Because high priest is either charisma or wisdom,
or any other ability score.
or if you could justify it.
Like I said in the chat before, I don't think it's going to happen, but a high priest of Gorum could certainly use their strength.
I won't. I won't be doing that.
But Tommy, can we kind of like make our own roles? Like as an example, if we want to have the high priest be in charge of tax collection, is that something we can do?
I feel like that's more than reasonable if the high priest is Abidaran, yeah.
Okay, cool. Because
By that same token, that if the high priest is a worshiper of Gorum, probably not in charge of collecting taxes, at least not in a very
Right.
official manner.
Right.
Pay me! Breaks down door.
So could we like hybridize the two so that way it's like half of my modifier gets added to stability and the other half gets added to economy or something? I don't know. I don't know how
That
we
doesn't
handle
sound
that.
horrible. Instead
And
of
then-
a 4 to 1, 2 to 1, and 2 to the other to represent our Tauruses running two separate things.
Right.
Okay.
And then I guess just round down. So if it's
Right.
odd, then we'll just ignore the off point. Something like
Round up.
Well, I'm trying to be a little more fair given that we're creating.
Or maybe because you got to determine when you're making your roles, you get to determine how you want to allocate your efforts for that period of time.
Oh, the spare point. Or you
Or
mean
no,
just all of them?
In general, if you feel like you need, like, I'm going to be focusing entirely on my high priest duties, then you would not roll any bonus. You could put it all into that and none into.
That's a little too. I mean, that's just like a straight up benefit, though. It's
No,
like I get to just choose. What do we need more, stability or economy? And then there should be a cost to having that flexibility.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Magister and Treasurer both boost economy by my intelligence modifier. So would I be able to effectively kind of do both and just kind of keep I add 5 to the economy?
Yeah.
Which two were you looking at, Isker? Sorry, high priest and.
We've basically divided treasurer into the tax part of treasurer will be handled by me, even though I'm technically occupying the high priest position. And the like bookkeeping, accounting, like what do we have in our treasury side, as I understood it, will
makes sense
be
to
on
me.
the Magister Ionia side.
The Abidaran priest abdicates his spot once a year to go make the rounds, and then Ionia is the one who's counting the beans.
Unless there are anyone has any issues with that, that does make sense to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Tibor's been quiet.
He'll be our grand diplomat.
I think he wanted to be the warden. He said in the text
That's
chat.
correct.
Warden is
Feel
a
like
really
that
good way to
makes
say
sense.
armed thug, yeah.
Basically, keeps order in the streets by
Increased loyalty.
enforcing laws.
Fear.
Okay. So then
Senya?
basically it's looking like Senya and Kato. And technically also, I forgot to bring him up when I was Bakkening, but Jod exists. Jod, Bakken,
Oh yeah.
all of the Soot Scale. Probably the chief is the only one that could be assigned to do something.
I was looking at Marshall as the one that makes most sense.
Exploration.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We are going to have quite the economy.
I was looking at Viceroy.
Turns out Kato is actually a
Cons-
Nemoidian.
consort. Not
So wait a minute. So we have Jod and Chief Sitscale and
And
Bak.
Bakken.
so.
And also Oleg and Svetlana, but their skills will be not as good as a priest
Yeah.
of Erastil.
I feel like our allies don't all necessarily need like a position. Like we need an innkeeper and like merchants and things in our city, and
Sure.
you know, Oleg and Svetlana will be highly respected in that regard, but they don't necessarily need to be like leaders.
Of course.
No, we're gonna make them like. Well, there isn't really any positions left that they would fit into. Yeah, no, that
Well,
makes sense.
Bakken, I feel like, is a good counselor. He's like been really good at giving advice to us in times of
Well, here's something to consider about Bakken is that he spends half of the year like living out on his own, and he seems to like it that way. So we might want to ask Bakken if he even would be interested in a leadership position, because that would kind of keep him in kingdom walls a lot of the time.
With that in
True.
mind, also, Bakken having a few levels of alchemist would mean that Bakken is pretty good at whatever you put him at.
Mhm. So the counselor acts as the liaison between the citizenry and the other kingdom leaders. Yeah, so he's basically
I personally think
between.
Bakken would be better
Bakken
at,
could kind of Bakken could work like under me as a magister. I could have kind of like a little group of people who help to educate our kingdom, and he certainly seems qualified to do something like that.
He definitely does, yeah.
I think Bakken would best be used as a spy master, personally.
For
Awesome
some
people
reason, that's also where my mind went to.
Bakken, the royal assassin who just throws bombs.
Not,
at
not an
people.
assassin. Spy master and assassin aren't the same thing.
No, I was just pitching a different idea.
Oh,
Yeah, there's another position, the royal assassin, which on here they call royal enforcer, but on a different
Yeah.
reference sheet it's royal assassin. So I don't know
Yeah,
what is the true name.
Royal Assassin. D20 PF SRD is not the worst SRD, but they cannot use... I guess Assassin is not... Maybe the algorithm pinged it as Red Mantis Assassin, and so they had to change it. I'm not sure, but... The correct one will be in the player's guide.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's royal assassin. I almost felt like Cal was going to go after that one, but Warden also makes sense.
it's not really her style, man.
Really? You're the one who was like tightening the nooses on the ropes on day one.
Yeah.
That's not assassination. That's
Well, no,
That's
the
not
royal
assassination.
The Royal Assassin is deals with punishing criminals.
Public executioner.
Public executioner, basically. Yeah.
Or a shadowy assassin.
And removes
Let's make
enemies.
Chief Sudscale our Grand Diplomat.
Stay
Scale
his ass in
mining
a mine. Keep his ass in a mine.
I mean, keep in mind also that we'll meet other people, I'm sure.
Right.
Nope, this is it.
This is all you
This is
got.
it. This is the end.
This is
To
our
level
kingdom.
20, guys.
Yeah. So
Just make
let's
the
make
best
the
of it.
best. Yep.
So
is like
so
the
let's
12 of us.
let's keep Nethers. Nethers will be the he'll be the heir. Fuck it.
Who?
Kato formally adopts
Nettles.
a zombie in the
Nettle.
water.
Oh, yeah.
No. all right. So
Son!
here's how I think, and I think Ionia came up with this idea. It's fine. So we'll be the only ones that take these official roles, and then the NPCs can take lesser roles, either in like non-leadership roles, or assistant roles that come underneath the leadership roles. Like Bakken could be under the Magister, for example, if he so desired. Yeah, up to Bakken, of course.
I mean, can we reserve the right to? I mean, we can always appoint someone if we come across a good.
Sure.
Because I like the idea of having NPCs fill some of these roles. I just don't know
Agreed.
that any of the ones we know right now would be a good choice.
Yeah,
That's the
and
thing,
that,
and I
that
don't
was
wanna-
more or less what I was saying.
I don't want to shoehorn people into roles and then kick them out when we find better people, right? So
I mean, ultimately, though, I had said this a while back. I do think there's maybe some can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like basically my idea is that the 5 of us are the ones who are actually founding this nation, and so even if we bring people in who might fill some of these roles, we should have kind of a higher place in the kingdom above all of
well,
us.
yeah, it's like the Justice League.
Yeah, so we have Cato as our
Oh,
king.
man.
The rest of us kind of make up like a council, and we're like right below him, regardless of the jobs we do within the city. And then below us, we might have people that are like filling some of these roles and whatever, but they'd still be underneath us, even if they're filling kingdom roles.
Makes sense.
Sure.
So have you guys ever seen Justice League Unlimited? Like
Yes.
the cartoon? Yeah, so like there's like a huge there's tons of members of the Justice League, but the founding members often meet have like a higher rank, and they meet amongst themselves for certain issues, and we're the founding members of the Justice League.
Y'all
So I'm
are
Batman.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and the Flash.
The Flash. Yeah.
And like Martian Manhunter sometimes.
Oh yeah, he's one too. And then the rest can be like the Green Arrow and the Huntress and
Cyborg and
Cyborg and all those other people. Like they're part of the league, but they're not part of the founding members.
None of this means anything to me.
He's lying.
It's true. I heard
Okay.
something about a Martian, and then I started thinking about Marvin the Martian and how he's a criminally underutilized. Anyway, so can we free Nettle from this curse now? Or?
Yeah, let's do that.
So
Yeah, free Nettle from the curse, guys.
I mean, or he'll attack us, and I don't know.
he's just
I
been
wanna-
sitting outside the gate. Just, where's my corpse?
I want
let's,
answers.
let's do Nettle and then wrap up the session.
Yep, sounds good to me. Okay, so as you guys go to leave, it's late enough that I imagine a lot of this conversation has gone down, like over the evening meal and resting, and between the soot scales and your mercs and Bakken, they begin setting about doing what they can to clean up the joint, move the owlbear pen and convert it into something else. But as you leave in the morning, I'm going to
Uh-oh.
set a... Oh, what color? I'll say if it's on the board and it's black, it's a permanent fixture, because this will be important. Basically, right where the path leading up to the the Stag Lord's Fort was, running out to across the crossing, it turns north on the other side of the crossing, and the crossing itself, a bridge has been built there and a road has sprung up overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah, it is perfectly, like, I don't think anyone's carrying a protractor, but if you did, you'd set it down. A level would tell you it's perfectly level and paved and flawless in construction and design.
Strange things are afoot in the stolen lands.
As you cross the bridge and get to here, you see the road continues north, but it does make travel through these squares much, 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 much easier.
Do I feel Abadar's hand in this, or is this something foreign?
Yeah, is this something we can like roll knowledge rolls to have an idea?
Yeah. Knowledge religion checks are good.
Seems obviously convenient.
Boom.
Esker's completely
Our
confounded.
Taurus is just blown away. Senia is not super sure, but Ionia knows that Abadar will, when Abadar shows Abadar's favor to Abadar's worshippers, that often manifests in journeys being shorter than one expected them to be. Further,
okay.
Ionia knows that Artoris is a member of the church, but Artoris doesn't have to study as hard to get that connection to Abadar. Artoris is just there. Artoris is one of the closest people on Galarian, probably, as a direct line to the deity. And Ionia was present as the beans were counted and distributed amongst the soot scales and the mercs, and in return, a road has sprung up.
I'll kind of elbow at our Taurus, and I've got a big smile, and I'll be like, Abadar is pleased with us. And then just kind of hop along the road.
And you do have to across like the Sootscale Caverns. That's hoofing it through the hills. So 5. I believe a road cuts the travel time just flat in half, I want to say.
Ooh.
So that means that these squares took you like 3 hours. So you get here in about, if you leave first thing in the morning, at the beginning of the afternoon, you reach Nettles Crossing.
Nettle, oh Nettle.
And he rises. He sees the body and just kind of explodes. And just, oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm assuming I had like the body like strung up and like across the horse's back, so I kind of take it down and just kind of roll it over to closer to Nettle. I believe this is the guy you were looking for.
And without any further communication, Davik grabs the body of the Stag Lord and they both disappear under the water.
Whoop, there he goes.
He was carrying a... It's a little... Actually, no, it's not, because it's enchanted. It's a... Should be waterlogged, but isn't. He was carrying a rancer. The rancer sits basically right where the body of the Stag Lord was before he grabbed it and oped out with it.
I pick it up and
And
examine it.
the +1 rancer is yours. Unless anyone has any real... anyone wants to contest the weapon being handed out.
I suppose not.
And beyond that, nothing else happens. The water is still.
What do you do with your old rancier? Throw it.
Throw it in the
And
water.
this was the weapon of my old chieftain.
Well,
Does a Luke Skywalker.
no. Well, I'd like to think that like my old weapon served me well. And I'd like to, in some way, kind of still honor my ancestors. I'd like to donate my old weapon to the old temple of Erastil.
Nice throw in the water.
Works for me.
Chuck it
Just
in,
throw it in the water.
chuck it in the river. Shit.
Now Senya's got a pilgrimage on her hands.
So that's it. He just disappeared, and the ransomer appeared.
Yeah.
We took the body and vanished.
A man of few words.
You're welcome.
Can I?
Hear nothing. Night.
Now you guys are all haunted. Congratulations.
There
Well,
are enough
there are
religious
enough
folks here in the audience and in the
belongs
party.
to Nettle.
Belongs to Nettle. He's been put to rest. He's probably, if you were to go dive into the water and look around, you would find his waterlogged zombie body resting at the bottom.
I guess I'm not here. I'm not going to ask questions.
I'll turn to. Is it me, Artoris, and Senya?
Yeah, I believe that was just the two of us.
I'll turn to the two of you and be like, "Well, that was underwhelming," and jump back on my horse.
Should we dive in and get the body?
You.
I mean, I guess we could fish out the body and give him proper burial.
Can't wait to see them swim checks. Go ahead, Arthur.
I don't want to.
You know,
See how that hat do? See how
There's a
that hat
reason-
do in the water?
there's a reason there's a man-made crossing there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other part of it. It's probably pretty nasty water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Shrike River is not the most fun.
Well, I'm let down.
Well, this crossing now is empty. Perhaps we come across someone someday that would be willing to man it at some point.
Well, it's easy for you to look on the bright side. You got a free ranch.
You guys all freed up a very valuable crossing for the kingdom.
We should tax this crossing.
Hmm.
Remember, you would first have to repair it, but yes.
Yeah.
Are there any trolls that would like to man this bridge?
Trolls.
Troll toll?
Oh, wow.
Everyone's...
We'll find somebody. We'll find some, some hermit who wants to live out here in
Hermit?
Montevero.
Can we hire you as a hermit?
What the fuck? Is he gonna be a hermit?
because they're out here like in the middle of nowhere by themselves.
Well,
Won't be the middle
There's
of
like
nowhere
a-
for long.
yeah, there's like
True.
a road halfway built, so it might turn into a very well-traveled
yeah.
hub.
You guys have big aspirations for this kingdom.
I mean, this dude made his livelihood of letting people cross, so I mean, it's probably pretty popular, or at least was at some point.
And it will be again.
Could we hire the mites to go mine that gold?
Why the mites?
No, they still.
Yeah, they would
No,
just.
but-
They would just.
Well,
steal
then
it
we'll
all.
hire the mercs to watch over.
Oh, okay. And
Or-
did we hire?
Or we just hire, or we just get slaves to mine it for.
Or we help the soot scales relocate to the gold mine.
Oh, that's right. The DM doesn't know. Dell has has
Oh,
has
yeah.
earmarked a bit of his funds for a bed slave.
Oh,
That's
good.
not true. No. we had it. No, we had a discussion. We were going through the the D20 PFSRD page,
Mhm.
or I was rather, just kind of looking at stuff you could buy. And I came across this part that said you could buy slaves. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. And I was actually shocked that they were like extremely cheap too to buy, people.
Such a good deal.
Such a good deal. But then the very last one said like if there's slaves with like exceptional abilities in certain like roles or certain types of tasks are more expensive. And then it goes on to say and overly attractive slaves are even more expensive. And then Timur made a joke that I was shopping for a bed slave. When that was
sounds like you were.
It was furthest from the truth. I was just laughing at what I was reading because
I mean, it wasn't the furthest from the truth.
I don't know if it was the furthest.
It was.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a step away from the truth.
Anyway, I was just
1d4 steps from the truth.
right.
And that's where we'll call it a guy. Well, no, we got 7 minutes before time on session. Or we could,
I mean, we could just debate more on
Yeah,
camera.
7 minutes to
Something.
just
7 minutes of debating policy.
you know?
Welcome to Kingmaker. Okay, yeah.
I will say with this last 7 minutes, Cal took the Sid Scales aside and she's been sparring with them, feigning she's trying to get their skills up because they were shit during the fight, but in reality she just really wants to hit something hard.
Okay.
She's not using her sword though. She's using like a. She's like a.
Didn't they go home already?
The Sith-Scales have stayed.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
stayed. Yeah.
I think everybody's kind of stayed at this point.
Why wouldn't you
Swacking.
spar with one of the mercs?
Oh no, this is fun.
She likes hitting the little people.
Okay.
Yeah.
They needed they needed the training. The mercs actually did something. They were
Did
decent.
they though? I feel like they just stood around and got attacked. Well, they got
No.
attacked by the Batman for a while.
Right.
Held them
They
off.
held off the bat. They held the bat for a good while.
They didn't really.
Yeah.
Did they hold him off, or did they just sort of like
Hey
occupy
man.
him?
Hey, that's holding. It's holding off in some aspect.
Yeah.
Every turn the bat was attacking them, he wasn't attacking us.
It wasn't coup de grace a downed PC. Okay,
Yes.
sure. So Cal does a big spar. Does the chief have? That's one of the reasons I hate kobolds. They don't have any natural attacks, but like they definitely should. Okay, so he can use his club non-lethal easy enough, but a 10 misses.
Yeah.
So the chief is probably soundly beaten. The rest of the kobolds will go in kind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16.
Yeah. That just hits.
So one of them is able to hit you with like a stick.
Yeah. I was like, see, this is why you all lost to that goddamn oak. I mean, no, what was it? A half what? It was a half
was
orc,
a-
right?
Half ogre.
Half
Oh,
ogre.
orger. This is why you all lost to that half ogre. Put your backs into it. Get up.
19. That failed
there
to
we go.
confirm. 9, 19 again, and then old chieftain with a 16, and that round they do. They are inspired by Cal's words, and they get up and they all rush as one, getting around behind you. The chief hits you behind the knee with his club and has sneak attack, so it hurts harder. The rest of the kobolds kind of just go at your midsection. Vakken sits.
They
and
just
takes
swarmed
those
you.
action. They seem to get it. I guess I should also ask, what is Kato doing during this time?
Oh, just kind of overseeing the cleanup and kind of thinking and planning about, we should turn this room into the council hall. We should set up bedrooms here and here and here.
Slave quarters.
Slave pens over here. No slaves. We do not have slaves in this kingdom. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay, fair
It's a
enough.
pretty.
I like to think
Take
how Kato said that to himself. No, we don't have slaves.
I think he had to tell himself that.
No, come on, guys, no.
Yeah, no.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna double check exactly what roads do. Road terrain improvement. I think it literally just cuts the time in half. And a +1 to economy for every 4 hexes. Fair enough. That is neat. Okay. So on that note, I guess a lot of next session will be a lot of math and figuring things out and claiming lands. But for now, that's where we will call it. Hi, Achilles. You are awake. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out. And the big plot twist was one I was looking forward to for a while. But we'll be back at it next time with more of Kato and Friends.
I'm sad.
Are
Was the
sad.
plot twist Bakken being an Aldori?
Kind of. Most of the plot twist was Kato no longer being a noble.
Oh, yeah, I guess there's that too.
Bakken being an Aldori was a means of, for a certain prestige class, Kato needed to meet somebody, and I knew it would be really hard for him to meet somebody. So it's like, which one of these NPCs is actually secretly an Aldori sword lord? Oleg? Nah. Svetlana? Bakken. It's gotta be Bakken. But
Oleg could have been an old retired one, but yeah.
Nah, he kept going for that crossbow, man.
and that crossbow has a secret compartment which contains his +5 team global.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
+3 Adori sword inside the crossbow.
Fring. Svetlana.
He just shoots
maybe he's
instead of
free.
His crossbow
Crossbow
shoots
fires Aldori.
his
tools.
or sword.
Reminds me of gauntlet. Just instead of attacking with your axe, the warrior just throws an infinite number of axes. At
Right.
everything. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm
Dude,
talking about.
Gauntlet
I
Legends?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best game ever.
Blue Wizard
He
needs
said
help
legends,
badly.
but I'm old, so I
By the
remember
way,
original.
Yes.
House Sertova may say that, like, you're stripped of your title, blah, 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 blah. But I don't bow to House Sertova. They can say what they want. It's all, it's all puffery. It doesn't mean anything.
So puffery. All right, fair enough. We'll be back. Oh, I've been muted on OBS this whole time.
No, redo the session, guys.
Not the whole 3-hour period. I was muted on OBS because my cat was using the bathroom. Things happen. We'll see you next time. I'm so good at stuff. They talk a lot, so there's not dead air. Haha. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
See